Good evening. Good evening. It's Monday, 24th of February, the last Monday in February. I hope everyone is doing very, very well. It has been a marvellous weekend as Villa vanquished the horrors that are Chelsea in a game that, quite frankly, we were a little bit lucky to win given how bad we were in spells, but we won. So everything is good. The world is good. Life is good. There's nothing to complain about whatsoever. How were your weekends? How did your teams get on? I'd love to know. It's lovely to see a number of people already in this evening. We have got the most glorious, the most wonderful Zerachulin. We've got a little bit of Rex. We've got a bit of Viva la Corona. I can't speak. I'm only 3 names in. That's a bad sign, isn't it? Levi's here as well. Now, Levi, am I correct? PSV didn't have a game this weekend. That seems a bit of a surprise.
It's not the statistics! It's not the statistics! You tell me! How do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Bless you very much, DMB. That's 5 months. 5 months of subscription. You absolute diamond. It is not the statistics. It's not the statistics at all. We have Zenergy in. Zenergy, apparently you just said you're 3 weeks away from being able to change your name back. What a marvellous time that will be. What a marvellous time that will be. I hope that Crodmo understands the weight of what you've given up for him. And Crodmo is in. So it's all good. Welcome in, my dude. How are you? We've got a little bit of Leon C07. Welcome in, my dude. Lovely to have you drop by. Really appreciated. Welcome on in. Johnson's in as well. We've got Mike. We've got Knight of Knee too. Lovely to see you. We've got DM Bassist. We've got Nickname 123321. We've got some Coritiba and that guy there. Where? There. That guy there. Fordita Abubakar is in as well, all the way from Indonesia. Welcome in, my dude. Welcome in. Lovely to see you. So, how are people? Zerachul, as a United fan, this week was great. We didn't lose. That's fair. That's fair. An astonishing comeback. A little bit of luck as well, right at the end. So, Knight of Knee drew, so we don't want to talk about it. That's fair. That's fair. Mike says good. His Ajax has an average age below 20. Unrealistic, but fun. I mean, they say you win nothing with kids, and look how that turned out. The great Coritiba lost again. Lol, wish I... Oh, that's a bit of a shame. So Levi's correct. There was no PSV. We play on Wednesday in the KMVB Cup. Semi-finals against Go Ahead Eagles. What a silly name. What a silly name Go Ahead Eagles is. Especially as that wasn't their original name. Crazy. Torino beat Milan, so that guy there has had a great weekend. Yeah, I can imagine. What a result. So I'm so Zenergy is sorry because he's going to have to change his name back. I do not feel worthy to carry the Crodmo name, to be honest. Nonsense. You are most definitely worthy. Now McG is in. Welcome in, my dude. Lovely to see you. It's great to have you in for the first time. You have indeed talked on TJ's stream, and we will talk again on Friday as those that were there, those who are either in the Discord or caught the start screen as well. On Friday, there won't be a normal Musterman stream. We're going to be over on Tony Jameson's channel doing a little bit of co-money balling / a little bit of chaotic signing. So it's going to be slightly later on the Friday, 9 PM. And instead, we're going to have our normal Friday stream on a Thursday. Now, welcome in El Norby. Lovely to see you. And the medical car. Wonderful to have you guys in. So let's head on over to the game, see whereabouts we are, where we left off on Friday evening, and get everyone up to speed. I still can't work out why it takes a little bit of a moment for the game to actually appear up there. So this is the state of play. We are 1 game short of the halfway point, just into the winter break in Germany, and our first season in the Bundesliga, we are currently in 8th. That was technically 7th when we stopped the stream on Friday, but Frankfurt had a game in hand. Well, they had a game later that evening, which they won. But that is astonishing. 8th place, with a squad that I think, we are certainly quite cobbled together. We have scored just 15 goals in 16 games, but we've also only conceded 13 goals, of which 6 of them came in one game that we lost 6-0 to Borussia Dortmund. So, it's been attritional. It's not necessarily been high on quality, but we've done what we need to do to keep ourselves afloat. Realistically, I think that if we get another 10 points over the course of the remaining 18 games, we should be safe. And that's ultimately the goal for our first season. There is one thing that does kind of stand in our way potentially, and that is these lovely wanted signs. Gaston Ovia is wanted by teams with lots of money. He's got a release clause, I think it might be around 12.5 million euros. So he's probably gone. Sebastian Tubec is wanted by Villarreal. They don't have the funds at the moment, but his release clause is around 5 million euros. And I very much... So Avia we gave a contract to in the summer, so we're not going to offer him a new contract 6 months later. Tubec, I'm not sure. We might see, but I have a feeling that when we looked in the summer, because there was interest, he didn't want to negotiate. So we've got to be mindful that we could be losing a starter and a backup in defence. Now we also have interest coming in Kenneth Schmidt, also from Saudi Arabia. However, he does not have a minimum fee release clause, so even if he wants to leave, he's going to have to lump it whilst we get through and potentially have to react to losing some players. So that's going to be the main thing that's probably going to thrust through in this evening's stream. We're going to just plough ahead. We will react if something comes up. We'll get to January. We'll see what the free transfer market is like in the summer, and we will need to be ready to react from our list of scouted players to potentially reinforce the defence, I feel. But otherwise, we're just going to crack on as normal. We've only got a very modest transfer budget, 1.7 million euros. We get 45% of transfer revenue. So if we end up selling if Avia's release clause is activated, we'll get something under 6 million euros for that. So we'll end up with somewhere around 7 or 8 millions to potentially replace him. Right, so Dean Baser says weekend football. I don't even like football. Yeah, that's understandable. It's all right though now. It's all right. The saviour is here for Rangers. As you said, staunch. And you do reckon that Isaac is world class. It seems like a really, really straightforward question to ask, but as he scored his second goal at the weekend, the commentator was like, he's almost world class. I'm like, well, what more's he got to do? So I'd love to know, are there people that think that he's like definitely world class? It's ridiculous to question it. Are there people that think that Isaac isn't world class? He's just a very good striker, and to be able to assert himself as world class, he needs to play at a higher level. I'd love to hear from you. Right, so we're allowed to go on a training camp. Let's head to Catalonia, the home of football, allegedly so. Right, so Zoachul, the big question, he's Swedish, so by birth I'm obliged to call him a scrub. That's fair. Right, now we have that training camp. So the training camp starts on the 28th of December, but we're not going to be back in training till the 2nd. Wait a second, what? It doesn't say training camp on any of that. So we will be at a training camp till the 7th of January. Maybe if I continue again a day. Does that change anything at all? No. So apparently we're in Catalonia till then. Does that change anything? If I go to nearby teams here are all very, very much German. So it definitely seems to have had a bit of an issue there. Do we get any offers of Spanish teams? We don't, so we will... Let's pick up some games against Meppen. And 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we go. In fact, no, just the one game should be fine. Can we use the reserves? So 12 for the first is what we've put in there. We've got some games here already. 8, so we can use the 8th. We can potentially use the 15th as well, as a chance to send players down into the reserves for match fitness. So hopefully that should be fine. So Coritiba says you might lose to 4th division opposition in the Copa do Brazil. Is it really that bad? Is it really that bad, Coritiba? That would be worrying. Right, McG is looking forward to seeing what comes out on Friday with Tony Jameson. So am I. It should be fun. It should be really, really interesting. I obviously I've got a lot of love for Tony. Really enjoyed being on the FM show podcasts. We've had a couple of times. I might even see if I can convince him to use the special version of the iconic skin that we specifically designed with attributes replaced with hooch bottles, just to keep it nice and themed. An offer from Athletic Club. That's interesting. We're not going to take it. Obviously, we're on our first season in the Bundesliga. We've only been here. We've now been here 2 years. So it seems a little bit too early for us to consider moving on. We haven't really done anything yet. Like, maybe if at the end of the season we've kept Darmstadt up, we might entertain some ideas. I don't know. I'm quite happy seeing this through for the time being. We're a long way from being a complete article, that's for sure. So Norby says, you know about just your and Man United drew, so it could have been better. That's fair. Right, Crodmo is 100% behind the idea of Isaac being world class. Beautiful. Forditas, good week to see Barcelona still on top. That's good to hear. What was Barcelona's result of the weekend? I completely missed anything to do with Spanish football this weekend. So just you still haven't got a manager. I mean, well, it's only been a few days though, hasn't it, El Norby? Or do you not even have like a caretaker manager, someone in the like short term? That's quite crazy. Oh, Eunice is in. Welcome in, Eunice. Good evening, Master. I was fasting today and now I'm having my iftar. Perfect timing. Fantastic. You've got to love Ramadan when it gets dark early, right? Being able to break your fast early is nice. I'm sure you've been here when I've mentioned before when I was out in Mariaham where we started this save. We were there with some people from Western Sahara, and it was in the middle of Ramadan, in the middle of summer, and because of how north Finland is, the sun would set at about 11 p.m. at night, and it would rise again at about 1:32 a.m. in the morning, which meant that we were working all day, and then they'd have to still not eat. They'd have to fast all the way through the day. They couldn't break their fast until 11 p.m., which is crazy. Having such a small window and then having to try and find to sleep as well. Incredible commitment. So El Norby says Ben Starday officially chosen to play for Hungary instead of Germany. So that's some good news. That is indeed. Yonsa, not so fun fact. Kenneth Schmidt's stepfather was shot dead by the police the other day. That is not a fun fact. That is definitely not a fun fact. I heard that there'd been a situation with his father and like another family member as well. I believe. But yeah, that is sad. So Tyreek George fan, yes. Also, what do people define as world class? So that's kind of the crux of the question, Tyreek George fan. I mean, what makes world class to you? And so why do you feel that Isaac has reached that? I believe Isaac is world class. I'm very much on board with that. But then, yeah, the bigger questions it opens up. So Crudmo says usually people who play for Sky 6 clubs, otherwise you're not world class or play in a farmers league. It's amazing how many farmers leagues there are out there, right? Isn't it? I mean, everybody apparently plays in a farmers league until they sign for an English club. It's almost like English football has xenophobia written into it. So El Nobi says your mobile won't let me write in the Twitch chat, so that's why I'm here. That's. I mean, I'm delighted to have you over on YouTube. I mean, it's perfect. We try and make it as equal as possible. So Mike says you loved how Liverpool played. They were more dangerous on offence while they were defending. I mean, Liverpool looked really effective yesterday. They got an early lead, which certainly helps. What can we do here? Oh, look at that. If we say avoid relegation, we can have a transfer budget of 1.76 million. We say we can qualify for the Europa Conference League. They'll give us a transfer budget of 1.76 million. In fact, the difference in wages is only 50 grand a week. So we'll stay at the lowest expectation. Why make promises when there's nothing to be gained out of it? Right, so the reserves team's got a friendly there, but our players are surely... so they're back from training now. Let's focus on the first one for those that really aren't fit. So Ellis Sims can get 45 minutes. Forkle can get 60. Mousehound can get 60. Reserve goalkeeper can get the full game. Guy will say 45. Guido 45. Stefanov 45. And Benjamin Bunch, because he's a youngster, can get 90. I think that's fair and reasonable. An offer for William Rashidi coming in at 2.4 million. He's very much proved his worth for us, so let's push that up to 7, and they say no. Perfect. That's kind of the response I want, to be honest. Right, transfer window is open. Let's have a look at what players might be out and around that we could potentially go in for. I like to keep an open mind here. We do have, I think that like our left wing back area is somewhere I'd like us to improve. I think we definitely need another striker. Selka's been great, but he's going to be 35 next season, into the last year of his contract. So it'd be nice if there is a really good option here, that'd be great. But otherwise, let's be open. If we see someone that we think is going to significantly improve the squad, then that can change what we end up doing in the summer, which is cool. Now, do I expect to find someone amazing if their contract's been allowed to expire, plus they're interested in signing for Darmstadt? I'm not particularly convinced. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Just generally around there. Sorry, let's just see there. McGee 2-0 versus Las Palmas. Good result. Corti, but it is. We have no attacking creativity. The striker is marking more than our centre-backs. The board is just invisible. They run the club like a business and don't even profit from it. I mean, isn't that how that kind of approach is how you then become president of the United States? So makes sense. Nick Name reckons that Isaac would be a good fit at Arsenal. That seems fair. El Norby counter asks, is Soboslai world class? Now, El Norby, I understand that you're going to have your biases here with Soboslai. Based on his Liverpool form, I'd say no. He's been far too inconsistent. That spell when he was like... I remember there's that spell when he's still in Austria with Salzburg, where he was scoring like banger after banger after banger. And like it looked like the sky was the limit for him. He's a very, very good player. But I certainly wouldn't consider him world-class personally at the moment. So Mamadou Sarr, he's in League Dirt at the moment. 88% tackle win rate, 80% header win rate is pretty good. His possession loss is a little bit concerning, generally speaking, but maybe worth an eye on there. Thuto Mojanaga, we looked at him previously and decided that he wasn't for us. He's currently on loan from Feyenoord, playing for Silkeborg and looking a bit shit, so we can pass on that immediately. 31-year-old right back. Well, I suppose if maybe potentially we end up set up... No. Yeah, let's ignore him straight away. Night of Knee says, lowered expectations. Mad TV, anyone? I don't get the reputation... I don't get the reference, I'm afraid, my dude. So Johnson says, funnily enough, England in the league were the same club as won 6 out of 7 last league titles. Exactly. Right, Johan Hove was a player I was looking at as a possible central defensive midfielder earlier on this season. Someone who could play as that like Volante, but also possibly play higher up if needs be too. He's still doing good. 0.2 expected assists, 0.37 goals. For a defensive midfielder, that's very, very good. For an attacking midfielder, it's still good. Yeah, in fact, I'm willing to go straight in on that. His wages at the moment are like 2.6 thousand euros. He would want 8 times that. So he's incredibly intrigued. Let's say we're not happy with that. they're not going to change their mind on that. Let's see what a deal would look like. Squad player would be fair. He starts at 22. Now, as we discussed in previous streams, about 24,000 is what the average should be with our wage budget at around 600,000 per week. Now, you would expect that to be higher for regular starters and for key important players. You'd expect it to be lower for squad players and for backups. So I think if we can get Hove under 20k, that would be great. Let's try and lock in at 19. See what happens there. In fact, I know what's going to happen there. So where's yearly wage rise? We're going to pop that in and remove it immediately. And there's wage after club league games. We'll pop that in and remove that straight away, just so that he doesn't even think that's a possibility. We'll say 3 years. Oh. That was easy. Cool. Yeah, I'm delighted with that. Joanne Hove is a player I was considering signing in the summer. A very, very similar output back then. Looks like a player who could be really, really useful for us in a number of different ways. I like his traits. Yeah, that's cool. Now, just to be clear, he is playing in the Kuchen Campion division, so it is the division below the Eredivisie. But he has been pretty good throughout his time there. Look at him scoring goals, getting assists, just consistently a good egg. All right, let's have a look at Saeed here. We don't know enough about him yet. You're expecting he's playing on the wing. We don't really play with wingers, so that's not necessarily going to be a focus. In fact, same with Cabral can play up front. Is he playing up front? He's not. He's playing on the wing, but he's proven quite goal scory, which is quite cool. So I do apologise. Heston's in. Welcome in. Here from your lunch break. How are you doing, sir? Good. I suppose it is indeed good afternoon now. Tyreek George fan, what positions do you need? So yeah, as I was saying earlier, right now, I don't think we specifically need a position. We might need centre-backs if Avia is, someone bids for Avia. So Mamadou Sarr, proper Strasbourg. And Tyreek George fans saying that Lobotka is better than Soboslai. That is a bold take. That is a bold take. Right, Zenergy is putting his stake in the ground here. Until you win something, I'm not sure you can be classed as world class. And I have to respectfully disagree with that, because winning something is a team output, right? You know, you can have players that are so much better than everyone else, but if the team around isn't good enough, then you should end up losing, or opposition teams should be able to neutralize a singular player enough that the rest of the team has to at least be decent enough to compensate. So Cabral is has scored, created. Could be an option. Blair in abundance. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's doing enough, especially as he's in Ligue 2. What about Haji Wright? He's a big boy. He's a big boy who only wins 39% of his headers and isn't exactly scoring at an impressive rate. He's also on 51k per week. Yeah, let's pass on Haji Wright. Filippo Mane, incredible. He's been the player that's kind of been lingering around the peripheries of our attentions for a while, still playing for Dortmund reserves. What's the deal there? Let's say we're not that interested, and that we'd want him to earn less. 30k, yeah, it's just he's not proven. He's not proven, sadly. So Crodmo says he'll never win anything at Newcastle. Does that make him less of a player? Indeed. And Dean Baser says, what counts as something? He's won the DFB Pokal and the Copa del Rey, I believe. That's fair. So Zenji says, I think so, yes. Until he's done it on a bigger stage in the Premier League, then how can he be called world class? He hasn't done anything in Europe or for Sweden, really, has he? Hey, that's definitely not fair. Euro 2020, he once dribbled past like 3 players in really tight space and then missed. That was quite cool. That counts, right? That counts, right? Okay, so Johnson has redeemed a minigame, so let's go on over and play a little bit of Guess the Player, as we like to start the streams with a nice easy minigame to begin with. So for those that haven't been here before, let me explain how this works. Reasonably straightforward. You're going to see 4 images from a player's profile in Football Manager 24, one after the other. You're going to see the positions they play, their attributes, their scout report, and the clubs that they've played for. Your job is to guess who the player is. The earlier you guess, the more points you get, and that gets you on that lovely little leaderboard down below there. Anything else to note? Yes, if a player, we are using the default database in Football Manager 24 at the start of the game. So take someone like Joshua Zirkzee, for example. At the start of the game, he was at Bologna. He's moved to Man United in real life, but for the sake of this, he'll be at Bologna. Cool. So let's head on in and see the very first clue. We've got ourselves an inverted wingback. So we have, now, again, if you haven't been here before, you will know that we have some people that like to guess players from a bygone era before we've even revealed anything. Players like Jean-Claude Darcheville, even Schranz. Unfortunately, it's not going to be Jean-Claude Darcheville, but could it be Brazilian legend Carlinhos Bala? It could be, but it's not. It could be Cucurella, but it's sadly not. Could it be Brooklyn Eze? Or Diegshi? Or Calafiori? Some fine guesses in there. Some very, very fine guesses in there. And it is. It is one of those. Which means it's not Luke Shaw. It's not Schlotterbeck. It's this guy. That doesn't really help us, to be honest. So we have a player that's 6'2" and that runs with the ball up often. We have a player who is a Serie A player, a good Serie A player at the beginning of FM24. A player that, it appears, might just be Riccardo Calafiori. There we go. Crudmo Blush, he says. Well done, Crudmo. I think that might be your first 5-pointer on this game. Some marvellous work there. Marvellous work indeed. God damn, says Zerachal. Exactly the response it needs to be. Zenergy's right. It's like, yeah, it's Calafiori. He says at Eunice Gaming as well. Night of Knee, he's a tall bloke. He is a tall bloke because Calafiori's he's one of those weird left backs, isn't he? That he's actually a centre back that's not quite centre backy enough. Definitely not for a back four. Some marvellous work there. You've got the applause coming in from John O'Trotter. Welcome in, my dude. Some applause from Medical Car, from Zerachal, from DM Basis, from your number one fan, Crodmo fan indeed. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. You couldn't do it without your hordes of fans and admirers, indeed. So Dason Channer asks, how do you get the XG and XA in the match under the players? You have to mess around with skinning files quite a lot, Dayshawn. It's a pain in the arse, and it looks really rubbish at any other resolution other than the one we use here, which is why it's not part of a public release. Cool. Right, let's head back on over. Marvellous work. I do notice that obviously I am behind on chat. I always am behind on chat, so I do apologise. But look, Marno Panterson, welcome in, my dude. Lovely to see you. How was your weekend? Right, Yankov. Do we have any reason to be interested in Yankov? Other than he's got a great name, let's face it. He's scoring goals from midfield, which is marvellous. Playing in Portugal. União de Lira, they are in the top division. So he's proving to be a goal scorer kind of player. For someone playing out on the wing a lot, I suppose he's playing half of his games up front as a striker as well. But his dribbles are quite low by that regard. Might be worth keeping an eye on him. He's on £7,000 a week. So might be someone that's worth bringing in to add a bit of competition. I've got question marks as to whether Dustin Forkel will be here past this season, if I'm completely frank. Right, now Verscheren. Been playing reasonably deep as it is. 32 years old on £4,000. Tackle win rate's okay for a midfielder. Header win rate's good for a midfielder. all right in the possession metrics, but nothing particularly special. Nothing to make us think that he's like exceptional enough for us to really take a look at. Martin Stenbring, 3 goals and 15 appearances. That doesn't look good. He is scoring around his expected XG, so 0.24 XG from 2.23 shots. Generally speaking, chance quality is around 0.1 XG. Kind of okay. Winning 8% of his headers despite being 6 foot. That's a no. Marco Kana. There we go. There's a I was going to say a champs legend, an FM legend. Is he playing in midfield? He is indeed. So I should press the right one there. 76% tackle win rate. Good for a midfielder. 52% header win rate. Good for a midfielder. Pretty good possession one metrics. Kind of. When you consider he's not on the ball that much, but that's about right. Incredibly progressive. Injury prone though, right? Surely? Now, Marco Canna. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Let's see if we can just make sure that we've definitely got reports back on his injury proneness. Like Tariq Georgetown says, because you support Everton, it's actually -5 points. -10 points. So yeah, 5 points earned, 10 points deducted, -5. Exactly. Welcome in, it's Squidgy. How you doing, sir? How am I? I'm very good, thank you. Do I have a video out for what stats to look out for in each position? Nope, exactly the same as I've explained in the various positional videos that we do, is that there isn't a standard answer for what stats to look for by position or by role. What the question is what do you want from the player in your tactic? So you've got a right back. Are you expecting them to dribble? Or are you expecting that they're going to be making overlapping runs and players are going to be passing to them, at which point you might prefer sprints? Are they going to be crossing? Or are you expecting them to keep it safe and recycle the ball, and you've got other players that you want them passing to who are going to be the creative outlets? When you're out of possession, are they really important in the counter press, or are they expected to drop back and more help with the defensive side of things initially? Are you isolating them against the winger and they need to win their tackles, or are you doubling up the winger and their job is more to force them out of bounds? So those questions change in every single situation, and that's why I don't do any templates or any answers like that, because templates encourage a little bit of laziness. You go, right, okay, it's a right back. I'm going to look at these attributes. I'm going to lose like these metrics specifically and only, rather than assessing what I actually need in the moment. And that only ends up being worse for you in the long run. So Trey Briscoe here has been playing as a right back. As a right back, he's been shit. Callum O'Hare, I know he's injury prone. I'm not even going to bother paying much attention to that. Playing at left back, right footed. Ryan Campbell is... I'd want at least 80% tackle win rate for a fullback with what we're doing. Possession won and possession lost is good, but it doesn't really help progress the ball or get forwards and create. So not really good for me in either our attacking wing back role or in our more supporting wing back role. Adam Armstrong, 32 on 79 grand. Not interested there. Guillermo Giam. Guillermo Giam is a ball-winning midfielder, apparently, who plays at AML. Yes. Very, very, very believable. So, he's not that dribbly. He's massively underperforming his XG. He is young, but not showing us what we would need. Toma Basic, 33, 24k a week is perhaps a little bit too much, really. Tackles a little bit low, like 75% is kind of what I'm looking at. Headers are decent. Yeah, nothing special there. Vasil Kravitz. We don't know enough about him. He's on, in fact, let's add that in as a thingy what's it, and say that we want just look at players that we've got extensive knowledge on. Just helps a little bit there. So Mike says, don't bring Yankov to England. I can imagine what the opposition fans will be chanting. Well, I mean, we're in Germany, so that's fine. But I mean, isn't that part of the reason why we want to sign him? Like, Yankov's an amazing name. Amazing name. Deshaun Turner says, I like the player screen as well, but I don't want to mess around with the skin files. Well, now, again, so just to say that patrons do get access to all my unofficial skins, the things that I use on streams or in videos that aren't part of public releases, but they aren't optimized for all resolutions. So as I said, this has been made for 1600 by 900. It's going to look really, really sparse and incomplete at a higher resolution. So you can get access to it via Patreon. If the only reason you have to sign up for Patreon is access to the skin, I would recommend not doing so. So Anwar Etel Haj playing as a midfielder, perhaps. They've only watched him play games as a central midfielder, but I'm guessing that means he's stayed central. He's shit. Ooh, Marco Angulo. Right, he's surely been playing, as a midfielder. Marco Angulo. So for those of you that have watched the Anselmi video, Marco Angulo was the right-sided attacking midfielder for Independiente del Valle in that game that we looked at specifically. The one who they said was playing as like a right attacking midfielder, but if you watch the game, it actually looks like he was playing more in central midfield as part of the 3-5-2 rather than a 3-4-3. It's him who made the run that opened up the chance. Yeah. But he's a bit shit, which is a bit of a shame. What incredible hair. What incredible hair. But unfortunately, he's a bit crap. Right, how about Bjarne Fundhella? We don't know much about what he's doing in terms of playing. It's currently for Hanover reserves. Not doing anything majorly special there. I mean, I say not majorly special. 0.32 expected assists is quite incredible. But at 23, I'd want him to be already playing senior football. So that's a concern there. Now with the Hanover senior team, so playing in the Zweite Bundesliga, as a wing-back, I do feel like we could do with another left wing-back. And the things that I want are expected assists, dribbles and pressures, and tackle win rate. He does all of those. Currently on 18k per week. Would want between 27 and 35. Incredibly interested. Says between 24 and 32. I think that he would come in as a starter. So I'm happy to give him a release clause. Happy to keep him on. Right, let's try this. I want to see, and I'm sure this is me being very, very dumb here, right? But he wants 25k to 34. Well, no, it's like 24.5 to 32k per week to be a squad player. I wonder if he will accept less money to be a regular starter, which is what I would see him as. Unless he's got injury proneness in there. He hasn't. That's cool. So that's, no. Let's move that down to 20. We say no on that. We bring that down to 5%. And we say that's got to be a minimum of 16.5. So realistically, I would be wanting to try and get him around 24k. But we've now taken off some other things. So if we can get him close to under what he asked for at the beginning there, if we can get him around 26, I think that'd be great. That doesn't look likely though. Right, how much has that appearance fee gone up? The appearance fee has gone up by 3k. Goal bonus and assist bonus have gone up. Well, they've been added. Clean sheet bonus has gone up by about 1k. That's reasonable. The other things I'm fine with. Obviously, I'm not fine with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Now you're taking the piss. Right, because you're taking the piss, that's come down to 13.5. I'm happy to give you a big signing on fee. Yeah, well, I'm okay with that. Right, so I do apologise. So Marco Cano was my captain at Anderlecht for a bit. Where's RJ when you need him? Indeed. Indeed, we do need him here. Maybe he's the only reason we won't sign him. Right, playing for Nacional in the 2nd division in Portugal. 6'3" goalkeeper. Negative XG prevented. Jens Heilen. Playing for Cercle Bruges. 6 foot. Is preventing goals. 3 grand, 22k. So perhaps someone who could be a plan for the future. Let's keep him in our thoughts. Wow, it's all goalkeepers coming through now. Dijon then. Also seems to be doing quite well. In a team that's doing quite well, but it's completely non-league, so that's not a consideration. I'll have a look at Amiri. So Marco Cana and Sander Berger at FM24 memories, indeed. Indeed. Yeah, Jim Bass has already answered me on the video for stats for each position. I'm sorry. I'm a slave to making things more difficult than needs be. Neutral Normie's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you? How's your weekend? Right. Amiri has played as a wing-back and a midfielder. I like the versatility. He wins his tackles at an okay rate. Pressures is difficult because he's playing in 2 very different positions. Yeah, nothing makes me go woo. Right. We don't know where Didden has been playing, but he does win his tackles, he does win his headers. He doesn't win possession, he doesn't pressure. And Qua, another classic player there as well. Doesn't win possession, we can ignore that. 3rd division is a bit of a step. However, playing regularly at 20 as a striker, underperforming his XG. Now, I'd actually be, if he was overperforming his XG, I'd probably go for him, right? Because he's only getting 1.24 shots per game. And so if he's getting 0.26 XG from 1.24 shots a game, that's going to be what, roughly an XG of 1.16, 1.17 per chance. Get him in a team that's creating more chances for him, and actually you might see those numbers improve significantly. But he's also massively underperforming those chances, so maybe not right now. Right, Alice Lesker is a goalkeeper in the Fortuna Liga who isn't real. 29. I'm not that convinced by. We'll have a look at Hugh Yin in a moment. Lukmar says, I wish there was a defensive headers 1 percentage. It's annoying that header percentage gets skewed by set pieces. 100%. It is very, very frustrating. Right, a wing back who could also be a fullback. Let's have a look. A wing back who can also be a winger. Mainly played there. Expected assists good. Tackling's pretty decent, 83%. Really good in terms of ball safety, considering he's also played further up where you lose the ball more. 13k a week for a youth prospect is perhaps a little dear. And I expect that's going to go up. But let's also keep an eye on him. That seems quite cool. So, Tyreek George fan, is this version on Patreon? It is indeed. It is indeed. So, access to Musterman skin sounds like something from Silence of the Lambs. That's actually what I'm offering. I graph bits off and send it in the post. Thank you for the hydrate, El Norby. So look, Mark, how about that Villa game here? Rashford even looked quite competent. We certainly made things difficult for ourselves. We started badly. Yet again, we conceded the first shot on target, as we seem to do at an alarmingly regular rate. We don't have the Turkish league loaded, so I'm going to pass there. Okay, we're starting to get into the B minuses now. So I'm just going to scroll through and see if there are any players whose names jump out at me. Really, we've picked through the ones that our scouts recommend. Yeah, but Rashford looked great when he came on. Asensio has been absolutely quality. It's only been 3-4 games so far, so not going to get carried away, but really, really encouraging. Yeah, hopefully the big thing is about us putting together a run of games now. So we've not really managed to have a consistent patch of form throughout the season whatsoever. And that's why we're currently just lingering outside of the European places. Maybe, hopefully, this can be where we start to pick up. So Zerachul says that working for Musterman equals overworked and underpaid. Absolutely. The only way it should be. Although, if someone is underpaid at 24, 26 grand a week, I do lose a little bit of sympathy for them there. Just a tiny bit of sympathy. So yeah, there's some players that we can take a look at. Do I want to make a dip on any of these guys? So we've bid on Hove, we've bid on Asnu. Sar's a bit of a problem, really, because I would like to bring Sar in and almost have him as the player who's we then trigger if Avia goes. But that's unlikely to be the case. Felipe Mane, his wages are just too much. So the question is it worth... Canna's probably not going to be someone we go for. If Hove agrees, then I think we're going to have plenty of options centrally. Young Belgian goalkeeper who's doing well. He's only 6 foot. Attribute-wise, he's got agility, got reflexes, rushing out, one-on-one, decision-making. Positioning is questionable, but he's 22 years old. That can improve. Let's see what the deal is there. Let's say we're not that keen. 6k per week? Maybe about 5k per week? I could definitely be on board with that. Come in as a backup. We'll say no to that. We'll say it's got to be at least 6.5. And we're offering you 5 grand a week. We're offering you 6 grand a week. We're offering you 6.5. Ah, okay. That's an easy solution then, isn't it? Oh, I keep on pressing the wrong area. Click in there. Click remove shortlist. I know how to click. Yeah, honest. FMG&G's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you? How's your weekend? And Mr. Grizzly P's in as well. Fell asleep early evening, just woke up at 1:30 a.m. I guess I'll just watch the stream and then go to the gym for my morning workout. Oh my, 1:30 a.m. is one hell of a time to be waking up. I don't have any need or interest in selling our young left back there. Catch22 is in. Welcome in, my dude. I hope you're doing well. So the UCL draws have been tasty. I don't really understand the UCL draw. We've had a table before now, right? So you have a table and then just use that as seeds. The team that finished first, the top seed, the team that finished 24th, the bottom seed. And once you've got that, just make the rest of the bracket, once you've gone through the little playoff round, just make the rest of the bracket seeded. Nice and simple. None of this, it just feels like draws for the sake of draws. I'm going all grumpy old man, aren't I? Right. Pex Voller have offered Hove a deal. He's there currently, isn't he? No, was he at Zwolle before? No, hopefully he will see. Hopefully he will prefer to come to the Bundesliga than stay in Netherlands. Right, so it's Shanghai who've made the bid for Avia. That's a bit of a bugger. We thought it was going to come, and it has. So we can now, instead of worrying about focusing on players whose contracts have expired, let's just focus on defenders. Nice and straightforward. We're going to look at Avia as our measuring point. So 86% tackle win rate, 73% header win rate. His possession loss numbers are really good as well. Possession lost at 5. So we'll use those as loosely. So stats chalkboard, passes, possession loss per 90 is at most. And we will start at 6. We might push that up to 7. I'm not expecting us to be able to get someone better than Avia. Because after all, if there's someone better than Avia, people might not necessarily be bidding for Avia, right? Tackle completion rate there was in at 86. 85 is massively high. I don't expect we're going to find someone quite at those levels. Header win rate was 73. We say 72. Okay. There are some players. That's of which one of them is Felipe Mane. Interesting. So Tyreek George fan says Sarr in real life is very, very good. It seems like he could be an okay player. Part of the issue is because he's playing in League 2. But if we end up considering Felipe Mane, like he's potentially ahead of Felipe Mane. That's for sure. Right, Philip Walcher. He's right-footed, so it would mean that we'd be moving Schmidt out to the left-hand side potentially. Not bad. Possession lost is a bit higher. 20-year-old, I get that. He's being more involved in pressure. He's even playing at fullback. He's got a couple of games at fullback, which might explain that. But 90% tackle win rate, 79% header win rate's pretty good. It's a bit of a jump from the Austrian Bundesliga. Consistency is an issue. Adapting should be fine. We speak German. We've got some Austrian players as well. He's brave. Second in tackle win rate in the league. Third in passes completed in the league. Fourth in key headers. Second in key tackles. Certainly doing a lot of good things. From an attribute standpoint, he can't head, but he can jump. He can't pass, he's got bad first touch. Be a lot of work on. A lot of work for a player that's not going to be cheap either. Let's have a look at Benedict Wimmer. So Mike says, does Moneyball include selling players for profit? Was it all about on-field performance? Right, so this is the thing that personally, I think it's always important to keep in mind that Moneyball is baseball, and it's almost a very insulated market, which makes things a little bit difficult to talk about in terms of like the selling aspect, because you're talking about trades and you're talking about fixed term contracts that often just run out and players become free agents. So the idea of there being a easily comparable transfer market is quite tricky to assess. Now, where the process of Moneyball steps in there is it's identifying when players are no longer worth what they're earning or what they might potentially earn with a new contract. So that would kind of be the point where you'd look to sell a player on. Now, generally speaking, there should be a balancing act there. Because when you're identifying that a player's wage demands might now be at a position where it's above what their performance entails, they're probably going to be at a higher market value anyway. Because generally speaking, that moment comes when a player who is good believes that they are great, rather than it occurring when a player was great and now is no longer quite as good. So you generally find that Moneyball will steer you in that direction anyway as you explore those market inefficiencies. But it's not explicitly about selling players for a profit. It's about getting the maximum return from them before they lose value, which sounds like the same thing. I know that might be a bit confusing, so I do apologise. Paulie D, by the way, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. Right, Benedict Wimmer here, playing in Switzerland. 91% tackle win rate, 79% header win rate, playing as a centre-back. Really safe on the ball. I like the look of Benedict Wimmer on paper there. Lacks a little bit of agility, is only one-footed. 6'7" is obscene. First touch isn't great. Agility isn't great. 24 years old, could potentially still improve a little bit. They do reckon there is some potential for growth there. So Benedict Wimmer is definitely someone I want us to keep an eye on. We looked at Deedon, weren't that impressed by him. Bashir Humphreys there. I'm sure there's going to be a comment from Tyreek George fan somewhere about... Yes, there is. Proper Chelsea. There we go. You are right on cue, my dude. So, Humphreys, he is left-footed. He dwells on the ball, which isn't great, but tackle's good, header's good, possession metrics are good. Solid all round, aggression a little bit on the low side. Not necessarily too bad in that respect. League 2 though, League 2, that's quite a jump. Quite a jump would be required. We'll keep an eye on him, but I'm not sure he's the answer. I prefer the look of Wimmer, even if that means we've got to shift Schmidt out to the left. Now, what about the other Schlotterbeck? Been playing all his games at centre-back. 86, 76, good. He's on the ball a lot, which makes his possession loss numbers really impressive. That could be okay. Is he going to be injury prone? He doesn't appear to be. Slow off the mark, they say. So his acceleration is a little bit low. His agility is a little bit low. We play mid-block, very high defensive line, so we do have to be kind of wary about that. But I think that with the right players covering behind, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. He is available on a free transfer. Going to be, he's 32 at the moment. Not too old either. Would bring some experience. Personality-wise, fairly professional. I'm happy with that. The regional leagues of Austria definitely not going to be part of the consideration. Felipe Manni, his wage is just like he's not a proven commodity. Sadly. A neutral Norma, yeah, that's definitely true. UEFA do love a draw. It seems so unnecessary. Mike says brackets are the American way. We Europeans need our draws to squeeze some more money out of it. I suppose. Right, so Lukmar's asked me to look up Souleymane Touré. So let's do the deed. So the only Touré that's coming up for Souleymane Touré is Isaac Touré. 6'8", left-footed centre-back who featured in one of the Moneyball Clinic videos. He is Souleymane Isaac Touré. So is that the same person, potentially? Is there a way that I can refund those points? If I can, I'm more than happy to refund those points, but I don't know how. Look at his height. It's incredible, isn't it? It is incredible. I mean, this could be the person you're looking for. Is this the person you're looking for? It's just that the game's got him as Isaac. Or certainly when I search Souleymane Touré on Google, it comes up with Isaac Touré. It also comes up with the Guinean politician who was born in 1980 and was the deputy in the National Assembly rapporteur of the Commission Health, Youth, Sports, Art and Culture. I'm guessing it's him, right? He's the one you're looking for. He's on 38 grand a week, which is probably going to be beyond our reach. But yeah, he was a player who I can't remember if he actually made the final cut for my Defenders video or whether he was someone that I just liked, but I already had quite a few French defenders in the list already. So yeah, let's go give him a bit of a look because I know that he has been good in the past. Yeah, that's who I meant, the politician. Also good at centre-back. Beautiful. Right, Dylan's in. Welcome in, Dylan. Lovely to see you, my dude. Catch22 was saying, yep, I probably said it before I said it, that, Moneyball is about using statistical analysis to identify market inefficiencies. He said essentially what I said, but in considerably fewer words. Tyreek George fan says, interesting fact about Bashir Humphrey is he was right-footed as a kid, but wanted to be left-footed, so he practiced so much he's now left-footed. That's incredible. That's quite incredible. Like Mark Overmars-ish. There we go. Sir Johnson says, heard he's got cracking headers 1 rate. Lumi asked, does this player screen come with a public skin? No, it does not, Lumi, I'm afraid. So this is not a fully fleshed out idea in any way, shape or form. I don't think you understand. When I say 5 million, I mean 5 million. So yeah, at the moment, it is literally just in the me playing around with things kind of stage. Right, Nuri Sahin has been offered a job at Colne. Interesting. Yeah, that's fine. Just we get a little bit of money for that. Not the worst thing in the world. The deal is important. That's fine, but that wages are crazy. That wages are crazy. I'm constantly drawn to Filippo Mane. I keep on looking at him and like going, yeah, I want it, but he's playing in the 3rd division. He's not managed to break. He's not got any top level experience, and he wants crazy money. Right, what's the deal with Hu Yin? Estimated wages now is lower than what he's on at the moment. Consistency, you'd expect that to be an issue for a 20-year-old. That's fine. At 5'3", I don't expect him to be able to jump. That's also fine. Loses possession a lot. He doesn't. His possession lost is really, really good for the position he plays. He's also, so he's same as Felipe Mane. He's also in the 3rd division, but he's 20. Good all round. They're saying that his committed, so determination is his best attribute there. Anything else attribute-wise that it wants to tell us? Bravery's good. Counts as domestic. Good personality. What does he want in terms of playing expectations? Okay, so he does actually want higher wage. He's not going to tell us more. We're going to say wages are too high. What's the deal there? So breakthrough prospect to fringe player to squad player. I'm happy with that. I'm obviously not happy with that. Nor am I happy with that, which is why I'm adding it to remove it. He's a young player, so we'd be saying... Like, that's a big jump up, obviously. I think he could come in as our backup. We're getting bids for William Rashidi right at the moment. If those bids do come up to around that, say 3 million mark, 5 million mark, we get Hu Yin in now, and we sell Rashidi. Otherwise, we get Hu Yin in the summer, and then we ship Rashidi off then. So I think that's quite nice as like a succession plan. I like the idea there. A bid for Ivor Biggin. We're obviously going to keep Ivor Biggin around. Nuri Sahin is now the new manager at Colne. We've got €500,000 from that. Benedict Wimmer, they are saying. Report-wise, we just did fully scout, so that's fine. No injury concerns. Lots and lots of pros. He is very one-footed. Though 6'7". He is 6'7". That is incredible. And then the other one is Kevin Schlotterbeck. He isn't injury prone. Wimmer's wages look better to me. Okay, so 24 is a bit higher than I would like. 5 million would be also a little bit of an issue. They view him as an important player. So we should be... Welcome in, Relay Hungarian Pressing. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you, sir? How was the stream? Welcome on in. So, yeah, I think we're going for Wimmer. So, for Raiders, welcome on in. We are currently in, what is this, Season 7. We've just reached the January transfer window with Darmstadt. We're in 8th in the league in our first season in the Bundesliga. And our players are being bid on and having their release clauses activated. So we're trying to scramble and find new players at relatively short notice. One of which is Benedict Wimmer. They say that he's worth up to 3.3 million and that Servette, the team he currently plays for, don't want to sell him. So we're going to try at 2 million with a little bit of a profit there. 10% I think seems nice. And they've gone all the way up to 4.7 straight away. Ah, well. Okay, so Milson, hi Muster. In my opinion, that Rashford assist this weekend was out of the world. The way he adjusts his body position while falling down is just so crazy. He did phenomenally well to react at such late notice. It was very, very well done. Ooh, 3.6. They are going to ask for the full 3.3, which is kind of what I expected when it said the value. So we might as well just do that. And once we know that, there's no point in having the extra 10% in there. That's just giving them free money. So I do apologise, by the way, guys. I am running back and trying to catch up with chat as much as we possibly can. So Mike says, if you run sims with certain players in lower reputation league, then transfer them to a higher league and run the sims from the start, wouldn't that help project data between leagues? Yes and no, but you've got a lot more to consider than just moving them to a higher reputation league. It's part of it's going to be about how they're used. So the way that they fit into a tactical setup is going to be a key proponent. And this is very true in real life as well. You might have a player who on paper could make a fantastic attacking right back, but the way they're used by their club is that they're told to stay back deep and they're much more involved in build-up and progression and don't really impact the final third. And when you're working on statistical based approaches, it doesn't matter necessarily what you think they might be able to do on paper because they haven't proved it. So if you move a player between one club to another and then try to use that to understand the differences between leagues, you've got so many other variables that you're not really able to control for, that you're not going to be able to properly create a model that's going to identify what those differences are going to be. As a squad player, their agent doesn't like me. 8 grand, yeah, so 8 grand is absolutely fine, which is why we're going down to 15 grand. And we're saying, look, if we have to pay 3.3 million, 6.6, 13.25. So I think we say, yeah, it has to be 4 times what we pay. At which point that comes down to 17. I'm happy at that 18.5 mark. Come on. They're not happy at the 18.5 mark. 9.5. We can do that, right? God, I dislike you, Eric Osterman. Robbed blind. Robbed blind. We're paying him a whole £1 million a year. Potentially to replace a guy who's on like who's on 35k a week. So Neutral Normie says, I think at this rate we need a stream skin as not public skin command. Possibly. Possibly. Sal Norby says, Soboslai's manager did an interview for the Hungarian Sport TV 2 months ago. He said Soboslai is definitely a world-class player. That's why I asked. I mean, he would, wouldn't he? Surely you've got to talk up big about your own players, right? Satiric George fan says, is 0 games in 3 years a big enough sample size to sign a player? Absolutely, Tyric George fan. In fact, Be safe. Go for 0 games in 4 years and you can be guaranteed. So El Norby says that for this season, Isaac's become world class in his opinion. I think that's fair. John, sir, who the fuck is that guy? Indeed, who the fuck is he? That's beautiful. We've got to work on that. Connor's in. Welcome in. It's one of my FM quirks, but I'll never buy a player shorter than 5'6". That's just heightist. There's no way I can paint that otherwise. Being mean to the short kings. Gotta love a little bit of a short king, right? Right, so let's pick our starting lineup, which looks something like, with what we know about Avia probably leaving. So our starting lineup, therefore, would end up being... Ooh, who is it? Who is it? Why can't I see? So it's Schiffel, 2 back in the middle, Schmidt out at left centre back, and then it's Rashidi. It would be Nürnberger, but he's coming back from injury, so that will be Mbamba. Brooks, Muller's back from injury, and then we're looking at potentially Hlinson, Selke, SA. Then want to focus this bit on the players that aren't selected. So we're looking at Sauter there. We're going to look at Avia. Look at Guy. Mousehound. Garrido. Bonch. Uda. Sims. And I think that gives us a bench that will be Sauter, because a reserve goalkeeper is absolutely fine there. Skitter, Borkel, Stefanov, Mousehound, and Bonch. So we can take a couple of them off the games if needs be. Cool. Johan Hove, that's a good start. Yo ho ho. That there's something we can definitely do with that. Something we can definitely do with yo ho ho somehow in there. And a bottle of rum. So Catch 22, how much weight do you put in consistency? As a general rule, if I see the target at all, I add to this card indefinitely. So Catch 22, if they're performing well whilst being inconsistent, I'm not too fast. It means that I know there might be some fluctuations. Some games will be incredible. Other games might not be quite so good. But if their overall output tends to be quite good, then I'm not that concerned. Right, yep, so Inter, it's just a friendly game. Not really anything majorly important. Just trying to get people up to fitness for the return to league football next week. Right, so Deshaun asks, which colour variant are you using? So I popped this together. This is the colours from the Darmstadt kit. The home kit blue and the third kit orange. So you can see us in the orange right now. So it's just one I created very, very, very quickly threw together. I'm not 100% certain if it works in all places, I'll be honest. Adam's in. Adam's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? How are you? Right, so I do apologise, by the way, Relay Alpha, for catching up. So, classic signing is Ben Wimmer. Is he now? Fair enough. So, it's cloudy and windy in Barcelona today. Full-time stressing stream today, but in the Copa Sudamericana semi-final. Marvellous. Brilliant stuff. Oh, that's great. How did you guys settle your transfer arguments? So, Damon's in. Welcome in, my dude. Lovely to see you. Mike's asking, what's the height cap in Football Manager? Is it 7 foot? I don't know if there's a max. There must be a max height of some sort, I'm sure. But yeah, good question. Catch 22, roll and usage is one of the reasons why Moneyball is so much easier in baseball. 100%. Tyreek George fan says Soboslai wouldn't start for Slovakia, therefore he's not world class. You're adamant. You're adamant that Lobotka is the man, right? I mean, let's face it, he's not even, can I think of any Slovakian midfielders other than Marek Hamsik? I can't off the top of my head, I'm afraid. There you go. There's a list of them. Lobotka, Duda, Cucho. Midfield was the best in the Euros. That's a bold take. A bold take indeed. El Norby, Eric Osterman dislikes you and you dislike him. The world is in perfect balance. I mean, I dislike him because he dislikes me. I'm sure that colours my opinion. I see that he dislikes me and it makes me feel thorny. That's not generally a particularly good sign against the scrubs, the relative scrubs. But that's, yeah, oh well. Can't win a friendly against Meppen. That could be an issue. So Mike asks, does player height combine with jumping reach, or is jumping reach the end result after taking height into account? So Mike, jumping reach is the highest point that a player can reach. So it takes into account his height. So if a player is 5'6" and a player is 7 foot, and they both have jumping reach of 13, they will both reach the same high point. Now, where height does come into play, as we're could say from Sihinovic, is when determining if a player needs to jump. If the ball is 6 foot in the air, the man who's 7 foot doesn't need to jump, but the player who's 5'6" does. And so you end up with different things being used to calculate the what's required in the duel depending on the situation. Or at least that's my understanding. Johan Hove and a bottle of rum. Indeed. I stole it. Muster twat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A Craven Thunder. Welcome in, my dude. How are you? How long did it take you to make your skin? It's really cool. Far too long for anybody to spend on a hobby. Well, not even on a hobby, but on not doing the hobby, essentially. So by and large, with FM23 in particular, it was about, good save. It was about 1,000 hours of skinning before I even started playing the game. And then that's been added to over and over again as well. So a long time. Johan Hove will have a Scottish pirate metal inspired song then. Just anything pirate metal. Anything pirate metal is what we're going with. Bam Bam, thank you for the redeem and for the hydrate, sorry, and the minigame. We've got a break coming up basically just after this game. So what we'll do is I'll pop on that break and do my normal breaky stuff, and then we'll come back and play the minigame if that's cool with you. Oh my, as a Brazilian Fury, how are you doing, sir? Lovely to see you. How was your weekend? Into the last 15 minutes of a game where we can't break the deadlock. We can now look to bring on some players. SA, Stefanov, keep Muller on for sure. No, I want Linson to improve his sharpness. Mousehound, let's swap those two around there. Forkle for Rashidi and Burnch. The books, there we go. So we limp to a 0-0 draw against SV Meppen. Just the 6 shots. There've been some good chances, there's been some good saves, but this is not what I would call a good game by any stretch of the imagination. Let's turn that up, in fact. So, FIFA Skoyayi, how long did it take to make your skin? I think it's really cool. So Fifi, I assume you are Craven Thunder. I do apologise. Yeah, so there's your answer for you. Alright, Catch 22. Often players don't jump when they should. Oh, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that. So Mike always wondered how LeBron James would do on a football pitch if his only job was to head the ball in after a corner. I mean, is that not what, what's his name? Paul Onacho. That's kind of his whole thing, isn't it? That's why Southampton signed him. They went, we want a man who is ridiculously tall. And that is essentially his whole use. Rich says, regarding max height, the in-game editor goes up to 212 centimetres or 6'11", whilst weight goes up to 120 kilograms or 18 stone, 12 pounds. There we go. There we go. El Norby says, my message to Ladislav Almasi fan. Ladislav Almasi played in the Hungarian league, so it ends the debates whose country is stronger in football. Shots fired. Shots fired from El Norby. Are you going to accept that? I mean, what can you do, really? Crodmo says Paul Unuachu is ridiculous. He is. He is just a man mountain. Neutral Normie can't even win a friendly. Sad times. Ironically, this will be only our 4th defeat all season. We can win a game without problem. Well, sorry, we drew against RB Leipzig. We drew against Bayern Munich. But we lost away from home in a friendly against SV Meppen. Doesn't bode well now, does it? Now, we do have like some elements that we didn't adjust really for the opposition. We're still on the setup for that game against Bayern Munich. But yeah, that was not good. That was not good by any stretch of the imagination. Cool. Right, okay, so we've got a break coming up, as mentioned. And talking about things that you should mention or shouldn't mention, yes, weight. We don't talk about weight. We don't talk about weight. On that note, I'm off for a break. You know, poisoning the lungs, refilling my drink, etc. I should be back in about 3, maybe 4 minutes as the ads run. And then we're going to play a mystery mini game and get into the first proper game after the winter break. I'll see you then. Right, we're back. We're back. I've had to very, very quickly scoff down my lovely little boot and oat bake bar. I didn't quite time that correctly. Sorry. Right, we've got a round of top 10. You might know it otherwise as Tenable. So if you're new into the channel, you haven't seen these before, let me explain what's about to happen. I'm about to reveal the criteria for this list. Your job is to pop into chat your guesses for which players make up the top 10 of that criteria. And now you do need to spell the players or managers or whatever it might be, their names correctly. However, it doesn't matter about case, so it can be all uppercase, all lowercase, a mixture. For those that don't know, case means capital letters. If a player has an accent in their name, you can include it, or you don't need to. So if they've got an accented E, you can use an accented E, or you can use just a regular E. The other thing to know as well is that we only need their surnames, unless there are two people with the same surname in the list, at which point you will need their first names. A lot of rules there. A lot of rules there. So, I'm about to reveal it, then you just pop your guesses in. If you get it correct, it will reveal. You get 1 point for each correct guess. Those points put you on that lovely little scoreboard. So, without any further ado, here is today's criteria. We're looking for FC Porto's 10 most recent permanent managers before Anselmi. So we've got the guesses coming in straight away. We've got 3 people went for Villas-Boas very, very early on. Adam got there first ahead of Johnny Trotter and Jonsa. Tyreek George fan tried to spell Conceição, but sadly it wasn't there. Mourinho doesn't make the grade. He's just too far back, unfortunately. So correctly, we've got Vitor Pereira in there. And at Zeratul has popped up that Jesualdo Ferreira, that's the oldest one going back to 2005. So is Coadrian saying there? He isn't. Fonseca is. Nuno Espirito Santo says Brazilian Fury brilliantly getting Julian Lopetegui. We've got Espirito Santos. We've got it correctly there from Crudmos because Nuno won't count. Fernandez, Lopetegui. Can we get who was the person? Oops. So I said not including Martin Anselmi. Excluding Anselmi, yeah? Including Anselmi, yeah. My word. Yeah. By excluding, I clearly meant including, right? Musterman out, says Adam. Indeed. That is a fair one to go with. So incredible in there. We got Vita Bruno, who was in as that ended up being the interim manager between Conceição and Anselmi. We got Conceição, Nuno, Jose Pesero, Julian Lopetegui, Paulo Fonseca, Vitor Pereira, Andre Villas-Boas, and Jesualdo Ferreira. Incredible stuff. Incredible. Well done. Well done. Marvellous. So Lookmar says the quality of this stream has gone to shit. And I would agree with you, Lookmar, but it's always been like this. It always has been. Okay, so Norwich, I'm still saying the same thing to you as I said to everyone else. 5 million, please. I'll say it again. 5 million, please. Yeah, I got that wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So Vitor Pereira has a funny story here in Brazil. Do tell, Coritiba. Do tell. So Brazilian can't believe Porto's letting a South American manage their team for the first time in 3 decades. I can't believe that the South American they've gone for is one who hasn't stayed in a job for longer than 18 months. I mean, it seems it feels very risky to me. Feels very, very risky to me. Oh, Magdeburg coming in with the offer of, oh no, it's 3 million. No, it was nowhere near what I wanted. It's above 3 million, not 5 million. We are, look, really, really steadfast. It's not difficult, guys. I say 5 million. You give me 5 million. That's all I'm asking for there. RJ's in. Welcome in, my dude. How's it going? Going good. How are you? How are you? Well, Smithy's here as well. How are you, sire? How's your weekend? So, Eunice, you're back, but did you miss anything? Excluding the quiz. Funny you should say the word excluding. You've not missed much. We've played a friendly. We lost a friendly. against a lower league opposition, which is a little bit scary. But otherwise,
It's
we're all
not
good.
the statistics. It's not the statistics. You tell me, how do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Oh, Adam, you absolute gentleman. That's a gift subscription to MustermannFM. What an absolute star you are. Right, and he's done it just in time for our star defender to leave. Gaston Avia is now a Shanghai Port player. We signed him on a free transfer, so flipping him from a free transfer to 12.5 million euros in a season and a half isn't too bad. Let's face it, that's not the worst deal in the world that's ever been out there. We're going to miss him. He's been a big player for us. His stats now reset now that he's gone. Just good all round. Was taking penalties, scored some of them, missed a couple. That he gets 10% of his fee, so we do lose that. That does mean that our transfer budget is now up to 6.3 million, which will cover the money for Benedict Wimmer. So that's kind of okay. And that kind of covers the wages as well for next season. So, yeah, it's not the best thing in the world. Not the best thing in the world, but it's, we are prepared to deal with it. And this is where Benedict Wimmer now turns us down, right? So, Tyreek George fan says that Villas-Boas was proper trash at Tottenham, so that makes him proper Chelsea. You can forgive him for the sins at Chelsea because he was worse at Tottenham. Fair enough. So Knight of Knee says, Co-Adrian said would only be if you excluded Anselmi then. Indeed, Knight of Knee. Indeed. Sure, Kenneth Schmidt can be our vice-captain. Yeah, we'll go with that. So McG says, this is the best Musterman stream you've ever seen. Disregard that it's the only one I've been part of. Exactly. Ignore that little detail. Although I will tell you, it only goes downhill from here, right, McG? Let's be honest. Right, Benedict Wimmer, 3.3 million. 15k less than Avia. Right-footed rather than left-footed, but I'm pretty happy with that as a replacement. Hopefully, famous last words and whatnot. Let's get him registered straight away. Let's give him a squad number. Like, maybe, let's give him a Via squad number. We're like saying, a Via who? Who? We've forgotten about you already. You mean nothing to us, Gaston. Dino Topmuller at Hamburg. That's interesting. And our game is against Hoffenheim now coming up. And I think that we're gonna slot Wimmer straight in. Depending on his fitness, obviously. We should be, yeah, he'll come straight into the centre. That's the plan, at least. Right. Jens Hyland is happy to reopen talks. They're looking for transfer funds, but we were going to sign him on a free transfer, right? Are they still wanting? Well, it's such a low wage that I was fighting over. Let's see. So we say no to that. We say, sure, you can have a minimum fee release clause, but it needs to be reasonable. Otherwise, we're just bringing you in to lose you for peanuts. We'll say something like that. Let's do it 7k. 7k for a backup goalkeeper isn't too bad. So let's do that. That should be fine. We know that Nicholas Sauter wants to leave. He's on 4k. He's got 18 months left. So we can look to sell him in the summer once Hyland arrives. Right, game time. Game time. So Rich says, you just temporarily changed an opposition player to have max height and weight. You can see what this large human looks like in the Discord. That sounds like it's going to be a horrendous thing to see. Let's have a look there. There we go. There. Oh, he's a big boy. He's a big boy indeed. Bless him. Right. So what do we want to do for this game? We want to deal with the fact that we've got. They're going to play two up top. Okay, that's cool. I like two up top against our formation. So we drop the central player onto cover. We take close down less off these guys. They don't have anyone in the attacking midfield slot, so I don't need to give specific man marking instructions there. Then that will be so Schiffel, Wimmer, Schmidt. No. In fact, because he's got bad agility, I don't want Wimmer as the covering defender. So it's a similar situation for Schiffel. He's not particularly agile. So what we'll do is we'll actually give Tubeck the game. We'll introduce Wimmer a little bit slower into the team. Right, Rashidi, Nürnberger is back. We're going to start with Nürnberger, Brooks, Muller, Linson behind, or do we play Esser behind? No, Esser's left-footed. So Linson, Selke, Esse, Sauter, Wimmer, Guy, and Bamba, Mousehound, Garrido, Skitter, Sims, Bonch. That's what we're doing. That's actually what we're doing. We are going to go... This was what was effective for us. And so I'm just going to see there. It's attacking midfielder. Support. Attacking midfielder, support. And we're going to we're not going to roam for position. We're just going to take more risks. And that's going to be Skitter. So that was what's effective, but we went two up top in the last game. We're going back to this. That's what's worked for us. I from what I remember, I think. Maybe. So Blue Moon's in, by the way. Welcome in. Lovely to see you. I do apologise. I'm a long way behind on chat, as I try and think aloud as we go. So standard thing, if I have missed something that you've said in chat, please do feel free to repeat it again. Hopefully I'll be able to pick it up on the second time, but there's going to be things that I've missed, and I am very, very sorry for that. Right, let's say... Let's go with that. I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I think that we're in good form, right? We should feel pretty good. None of this nonsense about being underdogs. Sure, we're away from home. Our away form isn't necessarily great, but there we go. Max is in, by the way. Welcome in. Lovely to see you, my dude. Yes, things have improved. We worked out how to win some games, but that was last stream. And you know what the luck modifier is like. So we've had a stream where we managed to win games and score some goals. So we should be right in line for a stream where everything goes wrong. That's how it works, right? Like Look Mar says, I know that horrible Chelsea Ranger chant is, am I proper Chelsea? By that definition, without doubt. Relap is in. Welcome in, my dude. How's your weekend? Welsh Smithy loves release clauses until mine get triggered. So I'm quite laissez-faire when it comes to release clauses. Like, I like the fact that. So one element with playing that kind of data-led way is that you've got to be willing to let players leave, and sometimes I get too attached to players. So I find that a release clause is a really good way to kind of help create that natural turnover of players, rather than saying, no, that you must buy him for £400 million. As we go 1-0 down inside 5 minutes. Oh dear. Bit too late to tell them to focus. So yeah, in a weird way, I quite like it. Johnson is questioning whether Chelsea have other chants than just Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. We have variations of the Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea chant. That's fair. But Tyreek George fan, he's proper Borg, not proper Chelsea. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, okay. That's not working. One of the things I didn't change was our mentality. Let's go back to attacking. That was a thing that made a big difference before. And so what we were playing in the last game, let's go back to that as well. That looks like this. Cool, with the attacking mentality. We are very much on the back foot. I need to pay attention. Look, I've sat up and paid attention. That's bad. Ease off tackles on Nürnberger. Right, Muller with the throw-in. Brooks plays it back to Muller. Muller's got to do something here. It's a good save. That's more like it. That's much more like it. So what are the key Strasbourg chants? It's Strasbourg, 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 to the tune of Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. Well, the Ultras stay silent for 15 minutes in protest against Blueco, so that's a key chant. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Right, Brooks back to Muller. Muller to Schmidt. Nürnberger loses out, and here's a chance for Hoffenheim to break with Tallis Wander. Plays it out wide. It wasn't a chance for them to break, it was just the end of our highlight. So, Rich Sun says, really looks weird on screen when he moves. The big... Does he feel like he's lumbering? Right, Besters with his free kick hits the wall, out for a corner. Right, Neutral Normie says, video suggestion, Inigo Perez, the Rayo Vallecano manager, was assistant to Iraola, supposed to join Bournemouth with him, but his work permit failed, and he's now doing on par better than Iraola at Rayo Vallecano. That's a fair suggestion. It will probably be a little bit of a while before I go back to La Liga, because I like to try and spread it out. But yeah, a great suggestion. Bester with the corner again this time. This time Sahinovic claims. So we had a chance. Wait a second. So we had that chance, and then we had a highlight that just seemed to be passing the ball around the edge of the area until we got tackled. That's like, there wasn't, even after we got tackled, there wasn't then a highlight for Hoffenheim. Brooks gives the ball away to Tillman. Schiffel stops. Schiffel was coming for the ball. He was going to get there and then stops, which is odd. Rashidi to Nürnberger, back to Schiffel. Oh, come off it. Berisha's shot. It's just some lots of bad passing here. Lots of bad passing. So let's stop trying to pass it. That was like 3 times under no pressure we just gave the ball away. And I've already shouted recently, so I can't shout at them again and say stop being absolute tits. As much as I'd love to. So Welsh Smithy says, I get that, just hate when the agent player puts a stupidly low release clause in. They do like a low clause, don't they? They really, really do. And that's why when I push it up, I immediately lock it as well. Because if I don't lock it, they will come back and they say, no, we're limiting it to £5.50. You're like, oh, fuck's sake. Right, Savinovic out to Rashidi. Rashidi is going to run with it. We've moved into the opposition half. That's good. Skitter into Selka. Selka's past his shit, but it somehow comes back through to him. And Davy Selka with the equaliser.
Davy, come on, Davy's the answer. Because you may be a striker when you score for Darmstadt. Davy Selka. Davy Selka. Davy Selka.
Absolutely 100% undeserved. So Selka is a little bit more central, which seems a bit odd. Ball share's been pretty even. We've had 2 shots, they've had 5. It's just been a bad game all round. Positions, there we go. We've got a lot of the joy down the right hand side there, so I think we might try and push that a little bit more. Nürnberger's almost certainly going to come off with the yellow card. But we're going to tell them they've been shit. We're going to bring on... Is it Mbamba? It is Mbamba. La 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 Mbamba. Tackle harder, mark tighter. So no hold position. So let's swap that over onto that side. That's where we're seeming to get the joy. Let's put you on support there. Tackle harder, mark tighter, and we need you to hold position. Roman Essa, I mean, Essa hasn't been involved much. We haven't really seen anything of him. But it was him getting tackled that led to the ball breaking for Selka, so at least he's putting pressure on the back line there in that respect. Just going to try swapping them around. Skitter is more of a natural striker. So that could help us a little bit there. Attacking's good. Yeah, we're going to stop trying to play out. We'll carry on with the counter press. Happy with things in that regard. No changes there. We should be much better than this against a 4-4-2. We really, really should. So it's a shite goal, banger music. That's what you come here for. You don't come here for the good football, that's for sure. No, you didn't use my Selka suggestion. Great song still. There are some other Selka songs that I hope to be in the work. There is always a limitation in terms of what I can sing. Even though my singing is bad, there are songs that are in certain keys that I just don't have a hope whatsoever. Right, we send it long. Essers, that's red card, ref. Red card. Oh, it might be actually. It is. I mean, yeah, okay, that's fine. Right, we are now going to look to play a little bit wider, see if we can stretch them out a little bit. And that means that we're not going to have any chance. We're going to get hit on the counter-attack almost certainly. Now, here's SA into Selka. Selka, we're playing really, really bad. Really, really bad. We can't pass. We just stand there with the ball until we get tackled. It's been a bad day at the office. Zimbamba finds Selka, finds Skitter. He's on the wrong foot. Shot's over. So Esser's going to come off. Muller's going to come off as well because he's tired. So that's going to be Garrido, Linson. Let's pause that. So we can't really play. We could go more direct, but that's not gonna help us in any way at all. We are going to increase our risk. Going to increase our risk by engaging higher, trying to make that one-man advantage count. Because we might go 1-0 down here. Who knows what's happening with this? Oh God, yes, we are going 2-1 down. But absolute, oh, come on. Right. It's the second phase of a corner, so I understand that sometimes things aren't necessarily in a great state there. That's fair enough. A shot was blocked. It came back to Nemanja. Sahinovic was on the ground. But we are playing against 10 men here. We are just being absolutely rubbish. So the Welsh Smithy says, been sorting out my mentoring. Got Cristante and Jorginho mentoring Pasili, just because I want him to be an all-round defensive midfielder. That seems fair. All right, we're going even more direct. And if we're going more direct, that means... I swear I swapped them round. Doesn't matter. That's not the reason why we're losing. Schaffel's coming off. Schaffel is going to be replaced by Ellis Sims. We're going to put Mbamba in there. We are going for a 3-3-2-2. Everyone's favourite formation, right? So I'm going target forward, shadow striker, poacher, advanced forwards. That's why we've gone narrower. We're going to be more direct there. Hit those crosses. Don't roll it out. Transition to Sims. And we're going to edit that. We're going to edit that because these guys become no nonsense in the hope that they're going to send it long. As Nigel Quasi there, playing for Hoffenheim. Not a player I expected to see. Sadir Base has got back from his bar to see the goat is up to his old goal-scoring tricks. Indeed. Unfortunately, it's not enough for us, though. The Avia withdrawal has kicked in, evidently. That defence is worthy of a movie. Yeah. I mean, like, we know that the second phase of set pieces is an absolute nightmare. The defence takes far too long to recognise the situation and get back into their shape. So you end up with 4 players at one post and someone completely unmarked every single time. We kind of know it's a thing. We know that the game's been out for long enough now that it's not really something that's easy to set up. So you kind of just have to deal with it. So yeah, there we go. The issue is putting ourselves in a position where they've got a set piece. We're being very, very passive here. That's not going to help that situation, but yeah, fuck it. Demand more. Kick it long, lads. Indeed, kick it long. We've got 2 big guys. Will they win a header? They never do. So I will repeat myself. You can't lose to a software development company's marketing branch. Oh, we most definitely can. More importantly, we will. We will win to a software development company's marketing branch when they have less players than us as well. How absolutely awful. Oh, don't be such a sap. I see what you did there. Yeah, that's bullshit. We were awful. Let's get some water bottles out. They deserve the water bottle for that. They deserve the water bottle. So Neutral normally says, you think reducing the midfield numbers was probably not a good idea? I mean, we created fuck all chances when we had fewer midfield numbers. When we had more midfield numbers. And we created fuck all chances afterwards. So we reduced the numbers after their goal, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4 shots out of our 8 in the last 26 minutes. I mean, at the end of the day, the issue was that we were rubbish, generally speaking. So I don't think that made all that much difference. But yeah, maybe. We will consider it next time. So our next game is home against Freiburg. Freiburg have recently lost their manager. Was he sacked? It was. They sacked Topmoller. They sacked Topmoller, and he walked into the Hamburg job immediately after. A home game against Freiburg. We can get back on track, surely. Right, we've got Hu Yin. So that's Hu Yin will be joining Johan Hove and Adam Asnu, all been agreed, which is marvellous. Jens Hyland, we could hopefully be in got a lot of our summer stuff done, which would be cool. Yes, Musterman lad, we created 4 cool chances. We created 4 cool chances indeed. I blame Tim Muller. For his weak block for the second goal. I mean, yeah, he was the guy that should have been marking him in the first place. But at the same time, we know the game is shit in that regard. Like, yes, it's Tim Muller's fault for not marking, but also they never do mark, and it's a bit of a shame. Hamburger and a Muller had worse meals. Hamburger and a Muller is a great combination. I blame Crud. I mean Muller. I definitely blame Crudmo. So Hu Yin, yes, he is our new signing. Crudmo, however, is a jam donut. Well, Crudmo is a donut. And it's what he said himself, so that's absolutely fine. Wait, who's blaming you? You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry. Definitely don't go onto YouTube. To be fair, El Norby's picking fights today. Picking on Ladislav Almasi, picking on Quadmo. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, El Norby. Beautiful stuff. Ooh, pardon me. Right, getting players up to fitness. Wimmer or 60. Guy on for 60. Mousehound 60. Muller for 45. 45. 90. 90. 90. That's okay. So, I mean, to be fair, I've also got to take a reasonable amount of blame. Schiffel had been out injured for 3 weeks. Muller had been out injured for a load of time. Nürnberg had been out injured for a long time, and I put them straight into the lineup. So there is probably an element there that's at play. Do we bring in Asnu now, or see if we can bring him in now? We can't because he's on loan. He's currently on loan, so we can't bring in Asnu early. Hu Yin isn't on loan. We could look to bring Hu Yin in, but we'll only do that if we get what we want for Rashidi. Joran Hove, that's not a pressing issue right now. So that's a shame. Right, so Neutral Normie asks, who is your favourite player of all time? It is the great, the wonderful, the incredible Ian Taylor. Naturally. Who else could it be, Neutral Normie? Now, Johnny Trotter's going for Fitz Hall because of his nickname. One Size is an incredible nickname. And as far as Watford defenders of the past, 20 years, he's probably amongst one of the better ones as well, to be fair. Magdeburg, they're starting to come in with the non-negotiables. I'm not having that. You've got to still hit at least 5 million. So El Norby's being watched by the football janitor. Who could the football janitor be, I wonder? Guy's out for 2 weeks. Because it's got to the point now that I have to comment every time Guy gets injured because he's not meant to be injury prone, and he's now in double figures in 18 months. He just can't get up to fitness. Enzo Maresca as Hoffenheim manager. So we just lost to managerless Hoffenheim as well. Obviously, that's why they changed formation right at the end. What would the buy now price be for Hu Yin? 45k, he's coming in. And let's get him registered straight away. Although we can't because he will have been put in at... Oh, we wanted to add players. We want to add Kozak. He was meant to be in the squad earlier than that. Hu Yin, it looks like, is being brought in down the under-19s immediately. We'll confirm that selection. Done that bit. Squad number. He can get 44. Oh, Adam, you will be delighted to discover that whilst we were in Finland, guess what squad number Ilves gave their left back. You would be so happy. So happy with this news. Without doubt. Oh no, says Adam. Oh no, says Adam. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. In fact, is he still there? Marku Kanerva. Jani Kanerva. Defender, wing back left for Ilves. Doesn't have a number currently showing there. Can we see it here? Can we see it there? How do you feel, Adam? How do you feel? It was literally on the screen. It's there. It's there, up there, indeed. It was indeed literally on the screen. You are right. Number 9, Jani Kanerva. I knew you'd be delighted with that. I knew you'd embrace that for all it is. So Hu Yin comes onto the bench immediately now that Guy's out injured for a couple of weeks. Right, so the Welsh Smithies' favourite player is Paul Konchesky. So got a suggestion for maybe Kiki Musampa or Neil Poynton. Neil Disappointing was his nickname. I see where you're going there. Right, Made of Glass. So frustrating. So frustrating. Right, if anyone cares, Kiki Musampa's nickname was Chris, by the way. As in Christmas Amper. And Johnny helps people along there. I do like a good hamper. Indeed. Indeed. So the Welsh Smithy, give your main striker the number 1. I'm scared that Adam will try and find out where I live and actually attack me if I do that. Show him some love. But number 2 for a striker is perfectly reasonable. In all seriousness, my favourite player is Gareth Bale for obvious Welsh reasons. That seems reasonable. It's better than Sandro Wagner taking number 2 as a striker at Bayern. Neutral Normie, 2 is a striker's number. Stand by it. I stand by it. Tyreek George fan says Kiki Musampa is such a cool name. Kiki Musampa is... like, he's just a cool player. Just everything about him was cool. Back from the era where essentially just being a foreign player in the Premier League kind of made you cool. Within reason. Not like Darius Kubicki. Darius Kubicki was never cool. Didier 6 wasn't really. So Adam's committed to 6 more months of this torture. You have indeed. You have indeed. How do I cancel a gifted sub, says Neutral Normie. You're stuck with it. I mean, look, Olawale wouldn't have been even half the player he was for us at Mariehamn if he wasn't wearing the number 2. That was the secret to his goal-scoring form. And I stand by it. I stand by it. So Johnson suggests it should be like Burnley in that one match where they just had numbers 1 to 11 starting. No, I want matches where the numbers 1 to 11 are nowhere to be seen, or only if they're wrong. So I like what the Welsh Smithy suggests. Goalkeeper gets the number 10. Yes, I'm 100% on board with that. Right, Hu Yin onto the bench. Stefanov, Forkel's not going to be on the bench. That's absolutely fine. Right, we start on attacking. Let's swap to having it the right way round. Yeah, we're going with it that way round. We're up against a single striker formation, which means these guys close down less. Wimmer comes into the starting lineup. Bamba. Nürnberger in for Müller. Who's more fit? Do I want the player who's gaining sharpness? In excellent condition. Players in peak condition, but losing sharpness, but it's a lighter colour. So is yellow down better than orange up? I think yellow down is better than orange up. SA, Skitter, Selke. Ellis Sims isn't quite ready. Bonch is not going to be there. Forkel to come on as a more attacking option on the right. Yeah, we've got 2 players that's still coming back from injury. That's absolutely fine. Or it has to be fine. They've got Mantle in goal. Mantle has had a really good game against us last time. Let's talk about the fans. They're not responding. This is the big difference between last time. Just no response to anything I've said so far. It's like the Christmas holidays came and they've just reassessed their opinion. They've gone, actually, This guy's a dick. I mean, what kind of idiot turns down Athletic Club to stay at Darmstadt? And maybe that's it. That makes sense, really. So Adam reckons it's like I want him to hate me. It's not that I want you to hate me. It's just, you know, these are the things that have to be. Jonsa wears the number 31, so it'd mean I get another game. I wouldn't get another game if it's 1 to 11. That is a risk. Quadmo, for your information, Everton's league-winning side in 1970 played a 4-3-3 with the centre-backs wearing number 5 and number 10. There you go. Right, Rashidi tries to get down the right. He can't, so he moves it back to Schafel. Brooks across to Schmidt. Schmidt out to Nürnberger. Nürnberger's going to get out of his feet. He's going to swing across in to Selke. Selke's got... What a save. What a save. I want our keepers to make saves like that, man. I want our keepers to make saves like that. That was incredible. Mikatadze wears the number 69 for Lyon. This is a serious professional football player. Well, I mean, he's a professional football player. Maybe not that serious. Diegzi wears number 7 for Strasbourg and regularly played left back at the start of the season. I'm all in favour of that. Right, we need to see more than just the one shot. Certainly, they've got the momentum, even if there's nothing much happening right now. So we weren't necessarily dominant in the last stream, but we weren't so absolutely arsed that we can only create one shot at home. Bad. Junior Adama's shot blocked, and it's clear. What? Both these. So for the last game, there were 16 shots in total, which is absolutely rubbish. This, we were at 2 shots at half time. What's changed other than the game being saved and opened again? We've lost a Villa. That doesn't make that difference, right? Push those up. Let's counter. Let's not push them up right yet, but let's just counter. Let's see if by trying to be a little bit more direct through the counter instruction, whether that's enough for us to kind of start to stretch the game a little bit and then move up again, maybe. Right, Mantle finds Ginter. Ginter inside to Cassius. His pass forward is intercepted by Schmidt. Here's the ball forward. Selke. Selke doesn't play the pass in forwards. He plays it out wide instead to Rashidi. Rashidi's going to send across low. Mantle has to react and push it behind. So, proper Chelsea. Muster Magic is wearing off. It is indeed. Samuel Eto'o wore number 5 at Everton. And he's proper Chelsea. Shortly followed by Steve Sidwell, the best number 9 in the world. Khalid Boularouz at number 9 is amazing. I am 100% in favour of that. Right, Rashidi tries to play it forward. Skitter. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Skitter evidently got there first. That seems a little bit soft. Right, who takes our penalties now that Avia's gone? Is it going to be Selke? Looks like number 27 to me. Davy Selke.
Davy, come on, Davy's the answer. Because you may be a striker when you score for Darmstadt. Davy Selke, Davy Selke, Davy Selke.
Right, okay, back on it. Here comes Junior Adamo looking for a response from Freiburg. Bensabaini, Weigl, good players here. Weigl over the top. It's not Danny Röhl. Röhl to Undav. Undav's shot is wild. Right, from our goal kick, Schmidt plays it to Brooks, and Brooks' pass is a bit rubbish, and here comes Lambord, plays it to Röhl. There is no effort to mark Röhl at all. That's Röhl essentially been right through on our right-hand side twice. This guy has been there. Just make sure we're watching both Undab and Röhl. Now that is Mbamba's side. I think we're going like this. So that we've got... Right, okay. The way we do this, though, is we go box-to-box midfielder on that side, Mazzala on that side. That's going to be Skitter. That means the false 9 would have meant to be on that side. So we've got both SA and Skitter, which I'm absolutely fine with. Brooks is going to come off. Rashidi's the one who's allowed to get forwards. Nürnberger is the one who doesn't. Close down less is on these guys. That's absolutely fine. And hold position on him there. So we've got our more defensive one in that chat of the central midfielders in the channel that they're attacking forwards. Selke is looking tired, so we're going to bring him off for Sims. Brooks has been a bit shit, so we're going to bring him off for Muller. And Nürnberger is going to play as the defensive midfielder for a bit. And then Hlinson is going to replace Skitter. SA is going to be the man who drops back there. We need to go back to that being attacking. Us looking to counter-attack. And that's what we're going with. That's what we're going with. Oh, Mika, do you know what he's worth? Davy Selke is the best on earth. Indeed, indeed. Cristiano Lupatelli wore 10 at Chievo because he lost a bet. That's a good reason. So I totally understand why Rui Patricio didn't take the number 1, but there are still far better numbers he could have taken. 11's a solid number. 11 is definitely a solid number. It's 2 1s. It's 2 1s. That's surely the next best thing after the number 1. Right, shot blocked. SA into Muller. Another good save from Mantle. Okay, second half has been better. It's that time of the season where the game has decided that you're going to lose a few games for about a month. Doesn't matter what tactical adjustments you try. It feels like it. It really feels like it. They've made some changes. Rashidi now is absolutely shattered. That's why we bought Hu Yin. Hu Yin. Hu Yin can come on to make his debut. So K Wasignick says, just looked it up on Transfer Market. He seemed to have played both centre-back and defensive midfielder, but later on. I missed who you were talking about there. I'm so sorry. So Vincent Kompany used to wear number 10 at Hamburg. Did he now? But yeah, he did play quite a few games in midfield, I think, in his early career. Here's Linson. Linson steps inside, shots just wide. Oh, into the final 5 minutes. Our last change is going to see who's the more tired out of these 3. I think Mbamba might be more tired, but I think I want the fresh legs in defensive midfield. Right, Muller to Sims. 5 minutes has gone. This should hopefully seal our win, right? So Rich says, it worked so well we scored 3 own goals in 7 minutes, losing the match 3-1. Thankfully, a month later, Sergeant Wilco was put out of his misery. Which game was that? So none of the shirt examples even touched the inspiration of the great Howard Wilkinson in his brief reign at Sunderland. At home to Charlton in February. Oh no. The flag's up. The flag's up. It's okay, it's disallowed. It's disallowed. How tight was it? How tight was it? Lamboard. Oh, he's miles off. He's miles off. The linesman was in line. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Right, we were better in the second half, but still only 7 shots at home. And to win from a penalty is a little worrying. Mantle made 3 massive saves. So we did create some good chances, but we're not really clinical. And to be fair, we were scoring under a goal a game before this match anyway. Like, You know, I can't pretend like we've gone from being the most super attacking, flowing, perfect team out there. Just not necessarily been good, per se. So then with our next game is going to be Union Berlin. We're talking about Howard Wilkinson. At home to Charlton in February 2003, our players stepped out with no shirt names on the back. This apparently was to take the pressure off them. Yeah, I see what you mean, that it didn't work. We scored 3 own goals. Maybe it's because they didn't know who they were. They kept on looking at the back of the shirts to find out who their teammates were, got confused, and just like panicked and kicked it into their own goal. Is that how it works? So Tyreek George fan has an important question for everyone. Paddington Bear or Winnie the Pooh? Specifically, Prime Paddington Bear or Prime Winnie the Pooh? Now, that doesn't necessarily answer the question what you consider to be prime for either of them. So Crodmo says Prime Winnie the Pooh is A.A. Milne. Walt Disney was a Nazi. I mean, yes. But I don't necessarily think that had any great bearing on the portrayals of Winnie the Pooh after he died, right? Surely? Right, who do we want as our assistant manager? We would like someone that maybe plays with a back 3 if we can find one. And that person is going to be none of these guys. Victor Claassen, Nico Bunga, Stefan Hoffman. We carry on the advert. We say you've got to play back 3. That's the only requirement we need. Neither. McGee's gone for Super Ted. That's a fine choice. So which one of Paddington Bear and Winnie the Pooh was world class? That's fair. That's fair. Anyone who thinks the Pooh who wears a red t-shirt should be dragged out into the street and shot? Sorry, but it has to be said. What? I feel so lost. I mean, are you suggesting that it's not a t-shirt? Are you suggesting that his upper body is red? Are you suggesting that it's like a dress that's just a bit too short? I'm intrigued. But before I can be intrigued, now Coritiba redeemed a minigame, so we should probably do that, right? Shall we head on over? And what are we going to play? We are going to play... How about a little bit of Player Smash? So let's explain, for those that aren't particularly familiar, the rules of Player Smash, how this exactly is going to work. You're about to see a set of clues. Each set will be a pair of clues, each relating to the surname of a different player. The last letters of the first player's surname are the first letters of the second player's surname. So if we look at the example here, we've got the clue, first hat-trick scorer in a one-legged European final since 1969, and young Ajax midfielder recently arrived in Wales. The answer to the first one is Ademola Lookman. The answer to the second one is Sivert Manswerk. You then need to smash those surnames together. You've got Lookman, which ends M-A-N, and you've got Manswerk, which begins M-A-N. Together, you get Lookmanswerk. So that's how it works. In a couple of moments, I'm going to reveal today's clues. There are 5 that you can guess at. Pop your guesses in the chat and just chuck it out there. Keep on playing with ideas. There might seem like there could be multiple answers for each clue. And that's kind of the thing. It's trying to work out what could possibly go together. So here we go. Here are today's Player Smashers. We're looking for a former Bochum player featured in the FM23 trailer, matched with a player who was part of the 2011 Copa Libertadores winning Santos team. We're looking for a player that scored a winning goal against Juventus last week, a former Norwich midfielder born in Cyprus. We've got some guesses coming in. So someone has picked up on Kolasinac. Beautiful stuff there. That was Sead Kolasinac and Gonçalo Inácio. And someone picked up on Gundoganzo. Gundoganzo is one of my favourites so far. That was Adam on the ball. We have Ilkay Gundogan and Ganzo. So Johnson has got Maradona. It was indeed Glenn Kamara and Maradona. Two players that are often associated with one another. About the same quality of player. And so we've had the clue that we've read before. The last one remaining is Argentine defender with a Polish passport. The Belgian at Eintracht Frankfurt. So, who got the winner versus Juve? DM Basis says, I think I know none of these once again. Now, DM Basis, you definitely know the player that scored a winning goal against Juventus last week because you made a comment in Discord about this very such player. Sjonsa reckons that Thiat should be the Belgian. And the Welsh Smithy thinks that Juan Foyth's got a Polish passport. And that means that Lukmar No Pants has been able to bounce in there and pick up Foy Thiat. Now, before Foy Thiat was revealed, we had Flamingos. It was, of course, Ryan Flamingo and everyone's favourite Norwich player, Jeremy Goss. Indeed, wonderful work, guys. You worked it out. Beautiful stuff there. That was Gundoganzo, Flamingos, Foy Thiat, Kolasinac, and Maradona. I love this game. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Right, where are we going? Stream main. Let's get back in. Our next game is up against Union Berlin. A new contract's been given to our young winger. He'd only just signed. He's got a new release clause. That I'm fine with. Just gone up to 10 grand a week. Now, that's what the director of football's job is. Who am I to judge? But also, that seemed a bit unnecessary. There we go. So Johnny Trotter's looking forward to the Club Smash version. Aston Villa Real. It's got to happen at some point, right? It's got to happen. Saying Foy Thiat sounds like you have a speech impediment. Definitely. Absolutely, it does. The Welsh Smithy, I could only think of Foyth because I got confused when he switched from Argentina to Polish in a save once. And that's great knowledge. That's great to remember that even happening in a save. It's like something that Mike Tyson would say. Foy Thiat. Indeed. Adam had no idea that Foyth had a Polish passport. Neither did I until I decided to include him in this. I love it when you find out about a player's second nationality like this. It's great, isn't it? Sims is injured. Sahinovic, both should be back in time for the Berlin game. Oh, we've got... Let's make sure we're using this to get players up to fitness. 45 minutes there. 60. Uda's on 90. 60. Keenan Davis is only 7 weeks away. You can play the full game. Let's pop into Davis and get him on general rehab. Oh, what are we doing? No! I missed that. A week ago. No, Davy Selke. Davy Selke has announced his decision to retire. After thinking the matter through, he has decided that he wants to retire before he's forced to play at a lower level. He intends to retire on Tuesday, 18th of June, 2030. Press F to pay respects indeed. F's in chat. Lukmar has no sentiment. He's like, it's for the best. It's for the best. It might be for the best, but still. Oh, that's a bummer. Right, we said we were going to need to replace him anyway. I didn't see any that had a particularly high rating. We stopped looking at players eventually. Tom van der Bergen is 5'7". He's never going to be a replacement. Benedict Pidschler at 32 years old is 6'2". Only wins 37% of his headers. Florian Dietz is in the 3rd division. He wins 40% of his headers, only scored 4 goals. Engelhardt, 5'10". I'm not even going to consider a man who's 5'10". Yeah, so there's no one currently on our list whose contract is expiring in the summer. So I'd rather we wait until we get through to the summer, hopefully enjoy a little bit of a reputation boost for having consolidated our position in the Bundesliga at that point. That's a theory, and means we might be able to get better players, right? So Selke retire indeed. No, says the medical car. No, says Eunice Gaming. TM basis, build that man a fucking statue. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jonsa says that we need to leave that ass-man position vacant and get Selke in. I like the idea. I like the idea. Is Selke a potential ass-man? That's what we need to check, really, isn't it? He's definitely a on the coaching side. So he wouldn't be against being an ass man. Now he likes a 4-4-2. He likes to press less often, which aren't necessarily things that I'm keen on. Let's get him on that coaching course. Mustermann, 6 foot or nothing. 6 foot at least. 6 foot at least for our main striker. Absolutely no doubt on that. Benedict Wimmer is the Challenge League Defender of the Year. Wait a second, was he in the Challenge League? Isn't that the 2nd division? Oops. Okay, I might have signed him judged on his performance thinking that he was in the Super League. But how on earth are Servette down in the... What's going on there? They just got relegated, in fact. There we go. Finished in 11th. Servette's history is only since 23-24 season. Weird things going on there. Weird things going on there. You can already send Jet Davy on a coaching course. Yes, absolutely. He's going to study now for his National B licence. 4 months, perfect. Get him up to speed, ready for when the season's over. But we won't offer him a contract as an assistant manager yet because he'll want it with players' wages, I think. Well, that's previously been my experience. I suppose it's been a while. Right, Crudmo out. Another night of thrashing in goals in 6-a-side. Beckons, see you on Wednesday. See you on Wednesday, my dude. Thank you for dropping by. Donnell McNeely is a really good striker. Good to know. Good to know. We will try and stick to players that come up through our scouting. Was he one of those in that list? He wasn't. That's just contracts expiring. Maybe he's through in this. Yeah, we'll see. I'm more than sure we will find players that we like. Obviously, we'd previously been looking at a couple of these players. So players like Ikwemesi and Chimiti are probably going to feature high on our desires come the summer. But there's no pressing need, I don't think, right now. So aren't we all as men, really? Selke was proper Darmstadt. I mean, he's only been here 18 months, but he was a legend. A legend. Servette FC, proper Chelsea. I can only speak for myself, of course, but it's true. We are all ass men. So we've got to look up here for Keanu Dyer. Keanu Dyer is currently playing for Hull City. He's on loan from Roma. So let's have a look at his career here. He starts the game on loan. No, he didn't start the game on loan. He started the game not playing for Chelsea. That's understandable. Was sold to Roma in the 25-26 season and immediately sent on loan to Carlisle. He was pretty decent in that first season. Started 15 games, 3 assists in the league, 7.08 rating. Then returned and was actually playing games as a substitute for Roma the following season, before being sent back to England. Loaned to Reading in League One. 9 games, 1 goal, 2 assists. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world. His next loan came at Pisa, so in Serie B. Proper season, a full season there, 32 starts. 1 goal, 4 assists isn't that special, but reasonably solid. Then he went the following season on loan to Hull in the Championship. 24 starts, 12 sub-appearances. Again, not necessarily troubling things too much in the final third, but seems to be solid. Another season on loan at Hull. This time it looks like he started to fall out of favour. Just 1 start in the Cup, 7 sub-appearances in the league. 189 minutes isn't really enough to judge on, and we won't have any information. None of that is going to be useful or accurate for us to judge upon, unfortunately. So there we go. There is Keanu Dyer. Right, so our next game is away against Union Berlin. So Carden, Ollie says, you've signed Wimmer, had him at Chemie Leipzig, and he finished the season as my joint top goal scorer. Man Mountain. That's in the 3rd division, by the way. Indeed. So we did indeed sign Ben Wimmer. We lost Gaston Ovia. His transfer fee release clause was met. So €12.5 million means that we've lost Ovia and we've bought in Wimmer for €3.3 million. I don't think he's going to quite be like for like replacement, but he does bring us something a little bit more in terms of that whole 6'7" or 6'5" or however tall he is at the heart of our defense, which is crazy. Is 6'7"? 6'7". 6'7". Nobody should be allowed to be 6'7". That just feels all kinds of illegal. Right, so Johnson's just seen something traumatizing. Salt and vinegar crisps in a pink package. Why would you do that? Why would you? That's. I think that there needs to be an international crisp colouring system. I think it should be illegal to have it different depending on who makes the packet of crisps. Now, I don't feel strongly enough that certain crisps have to be certain colours. So, like, I'm all ears. If you say that salt and vinegar is blue, or you say salt and vinegar is green, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. But it should be the same for every packet of crisps that shares that flavour. And if we run out of colours for the number of flavours there are, then you need to invent a new colour before you can sell that flavour of crisps. I think it's the only way that's fair. So Carden says he wins headers like a beast, although with Kemi's finances I would take even 1 million for Ben Wimmer. That's fair. That's fair. So Servet wanted up at his top value, and that's what you get with January as well. I find that January is a lot harder to get players towards the bottom end of their value. Teams always want the top or even a buff. A buff? A buff. Right, so imagine going on Dragon's Den with a packet of crisps and dropping the bomb that you've invented a new colour. It has to be. It has to be. Like, the only way you're allowed. That's true innovation there. True innovation. Right, so Selka's out because of his cold. So that means Sims gets the start. Stefanov comes back onto the bench. Guy should be okay to come on, so Huyin drops out there. Tim Muller's fitness is No, we're going to stick with that. Muller can come on off the bench. Bamba did fine. SA wasn't great, but we'll give him another run there. Linson, do we give Linson the start? SA's not been great the last few games, so let's go with Skitter and Linson. Let's try that. And before we do that, we're on attacking. Happy with those bits. They're playing a 4-3-3, right? So he doesn't need to mark a specific player. To go. So Hu Yin for Darmstadt, goal, 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 to the tune of Who Let the Dogs Out. Hu Yin for Darmstadt, go, 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 go. I felt very, very cringe even doing that. So that sounds like it's got to happen. That has definitely got to happen because it was awful. Adam's a fan. Adam's a fan of it. Zeratul, my ears. That's exactly the response I'm looking for. Exactly the response I'm looking for. Nürnberger sends a cross in the opening minutes. An easy claim for Stein. Clinton's not going to win a header in that situation. So Lukmar, do I have Wimmer as a set-piece target, by the way? I leave that side of things to the coaches. Although we have set it up, the way that we have it set up is that we don't aim for the number one guy. We aim for like the number 2, number 3. But maybe we will look to change that in due course. We don't score many set-piece goals, and that's kind of deliberate. I don't want us to be winning games because we're ending up with a player who's going to score like a centre-back who's able to score 15 over the course of a season. So I try and deliberately avoid anything that might be too overpowered. So it's great we've got Wimmer. Having a 6'7" guy as our main target isn't great, but having him there means that a lot of attention will go to him, and we might still be able to pick up a few goals from having Schiffel or Schmidt as the secondary, third, and tertiary target. Skitter's free kick, good save from Stein. So proper Chelsea chant. I thought I threw the proper Chelsea tag out easily. I mean, it's people are getting on board with it. They're getting on board with it. Schmidt's header, easy to gather. Off topic, but Darmstadt's goal song is one of my favourites. Fair enough. Fair enough. I miss the Maria Ham goal songs. I'll be honest. Rashidi finds Linson. Linson out to Schiffel. And Bamba takes shot from distance. Stein turns it round the post. Queenie 1988. Thank you very much for the follow and welcome on in. If you're comfortable chatting, would love to know where you're from, who you support, who you're playing with in FM. But absolutely no obligation to do so if you don't want to. Lukmar says, to the tune of In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, Benedict Wimmer scoring it. I can feel it coming. I can feel it. Rashidi, it's a great save onto the post. Benedict Wimmer. Benedict Wimmer. I can feel it. I can feel it. Benedict Wim. Benny Wimmer. So it'd have to be, I think it has to be Benny Wimmer, right? Benny Wimmer scoring in the air tonight. Darmstadt. Okay, I think we could do something there. We've been all right. That's probably been our best half of football so far. Look at that. Look at that. We're virtually all in their half. It's still not good, but it's certainly been better than what we've seen up until now. Let's increase that tempo and go chase it in the second half. Oh, you're talking about in real life, by the way, not the streams. That's fair. That's interesting. I need to find out what the Darmstadt song is. So Queenie's from Scotland. You support Celtic and you're playing as Brighton. Fabulous. I mean, I say fabulous. We have a few Rangers fans in and around here, so play nice, everyone. Blue Moon's a fan of the Bayern song. Fair enough. Mr. Chrissy P's going on a bit of a Wicklow holding arena. The classic. You could incorporate the iconic drums. It would be amazing. It would be amazing. Sakana says, do you think it's possible to reliably use data in the third division with no transfer budget? I've been using free agents and loans most of the time, and many of the places don't have reliable data due to low minutes. So, I mean, yes and no. As long as you've got players that are playing, you can use data. If you're looking for players that are currently free transfers, then there's going to be an issue because they're not playing at all, because they have no club. It's going to be about, like we have today, Brooks' shot is pushed away, is as you come 6 months out and you look at free transfers that way, make sure that you filter by minutes so you can see those that kind of will meet the criteria that you're personally looking for. Rangers, never heard of them, mate. Couldn't be me. I don't know what you're suggesting, DM Basis, but is there something that's happened recently that stops you from promoting the glorious Glasgow Rangers? Rashidi, toying with Schiffler there. Plays it to Brooks. Brooks takes aim from distance. Stein turns it round the post. Come on, let's encourage you guys. You're doing exactly what we want right now. So FMG&G wonders who's the most proper Villa player ever. It's Ian Taylor. Ian Taylor all the way. So McGee's also from Scotland, supports Celtic and currently managing Royal AM in South Africa. A fine choice, William Rashidi.
Scoring like no tomorrow.
Don't you disallow that.
The goals are here.
There we go. Nürnberger with the corner. Schmidt comes across. There's chaos as Schiffel knocks it down to Rashidi. Absolutely no doubt about us. Skitter being in the line of sight wasn't any question there whatsoever. Right, coming into the 65th minute. Another chance potentially from a corner. Nürnberger sends it in again. Schiffel can't quite get there first, and they just about clear their line. Schmidt to Brooks. Brooks passes it to Schiffel. Rashidi back to Mbamba. Rashidi tries to get it out of his feet so he can swing across in. It's an easy claim for Stein. So Ben Wimmer takes them all. His header's always full. It's simple and it's plain. How can I complain? To the tune of ABBA's The Winner Takes It All. I love it. I love it. Robin Goosen's here. He's now created space. He sends the cross in. Llewellyn's header straight at Sahinovic. That's reasonably straightforward. It's just highlight after highlight at the moment, which is scaring me a little bit. Ellis Sims is going to come off. Stefanov is coming on. Noah Mbamba is looking kind of tired as well, so it's going to be Mousehound on. Do love a little bit of Mousehound. Right, Nürnberger down the left, plays it back to Brooks. A lot of plays gone through Brooks there. Mbamba finds Sims. Mbamba gets it now. What's going on? There's loads of tackles falling to Mbamba. That's a really, really good chance. He should have done something there. On comes Tim Kleindenst. Berlin are going to go big. Mousehound picks up a yellow card almost immediately after coming on. Here we go. Here comes the equaliser. Gustons with a corner. Left-footed, swinging into the near post. There's Kleindenst. Sahinovic didn't make a save. Did that hit the post? Hit the post. I thought that was tipped behind, but no. Right, Rashidi's tired, so on comes Guy. On comes Muller as well for Brooks, who's looking tired. Oh. I didn't necessarily want to bring Mousehound on because that's the Volante position. Hey, it's okay. He's proven he can be quite effective going forwards, actually. So let's drop the tempo, start time wasting into the last 10 minutes. Right, Muller with a throw in our own half. Schmidt to Wimmer to Nürnberger to Mousehound. That's nicely worked. Now Hlinson has a chance to run. He's going to play it out wide to Guy. Guy showing exactly what we want from an attacking wing back, overloading by not running down the flank whatsoever. Muller forces a save. Right, on comes Koulibaly for Diego Leite. Bit more physicality to their defensive line. Nürnberger with the corner. Going to outswing it. That's punched away by Stein. Guy gathers back out to Nürnberger. There's loads of space. Pass to Schmidt is wank. And that comes down to nothing. Another throw-in. Straight away, Sahinovic into Wimmer. Cross to Nürnberger. Here's Skitter. Can they get the ball through? There's Linson. Too heavy. Bonner intercepts. Right, Berlin. Try going long. It's a poor clearance. from Stein. Guy gets in, sends the cross in. This is a rubbish highlight. This highlight could have started like 5 minutes after the time it did. Guy back to Schiffel. Schiffel exchanges passes before playing it forward to Skitter. Lovely first time touch. Stefanov spreads it out wide. Muller plays it into Skitter. Skitter across the angle. Ducky gets across to cover and it's a corner. That was not worth that as a highlight. That was not worth the build-up. Nürnberger's going to take another outswinger. So we're looking at Stefanov and we're looking at Schmidt as the targets. I mean, Schmidt should be the main one there. He's like 6'5". But Stein is going to gather. Just 5 minutes or so to go. We've got one more set of stoppages we can do, and that's going to see us bring on Esse and Garrido. And Garrido. Oh no, we've used all our substitutes, so just Esse. Right, so no, everything is fine. It's all a dream. It's still the 90s. Gaza and Laudrup still going strong. Nothing else to discuss. Exactly. Right, I'm Kay. Welcome in, my dude. You're from the US. You support Dortmund. Currently bouncing between two saves. One is a multi-club ownership save with Charleroi and Watford. The other, a Kaiserslautern save rebuilding fallen giants. Marvellous. And how are they going? As Guy's shot is blocked, Guy's shot is saved. Their keepers played really well as well. That's 3 games where we've seen a lot of good saves. So McGee says, not great, got Vendor FC promoted, then jumped to Royal AM, stuck in mid-table mediocrity and can't get a decent job offer to get out of it all. I mean, so you got promoted. I take it the Royal AM are in the DSTV Premiership then. So at least you don't have to worry with all that whole only being able to offer 1 year contract malarkey. But South Africa is a brutal league, man. Brutal league. Guy tries sending it across, cut out. Wimmer gets there ahead of Kleindens to Schmidt. Out to Muller. We've got about a minute and 20 seconds remaining. Muller plays it inside to Nürnberger, and here's a chance for Union Berlin to come away with Gabriel Vidovic. Vidovic running at the heart of the defence, finds Llewellyn, and that shot is shit. Is Rashford a proper Villa player? No. Rashford is definitely not. He's not someone you'd associate. He doesn't feel like a Villa player. He doesn't play like a Villa player. He's a very, very talented player, but he's not a proper Villa player.
Wait for SV Darmstadt, spam the golden motion. You can feel it every week. Mustard rejoices, free your mind and join us. Gonna win the fucking league.
Yeah, gonna win the fucking league. We played well. Gotta be happy with that. Even if at the last moment it looked like they might get a late equaliser. 1-0. It's not exactly an impressive result. But that keeps us chugging along. I reckon we are 4 points away from safety, which is incredible. Absolutely crazy to think about, really. So let's get these guys. I mean, look at our goal scorers. Rashidi's got 3 goals this season. Davy Selka's got 7. Rashidi is our second top goal scorer with 3 goals. But Sahinovic has made some big saves for us. Look at that there. 0.73 goals conceded per 90. What a legend he is. What a legend Mohamed Sahinovic has been. Right, our next game, however, is away against Dortmund. A team that we lost at home 6-0 to. So I'm sure that will be a nice and easy game, right? I'm sure that will be a nice, easy game. So I'm Kay. Watford has stabilised in the Premiership, but nothing crazy. Charleroi are back here to the Pro League champs and are in the UCL knockouts this season. Marvellous. Starting the 3rd season in Kaiserslautern and avoided relegation last year, so hoping for mid-table this season. Sounds like it's all going well. A Tyreek George fan has just beaten Villa 5-0 in the UCL. Get out. Get out. Of course not. Of course not. What a result. What an incredible result. Mr. Grizzly P. Rosicki at Dortmund was my favourite player of the early 2000s. I was devastated when he joined Arsenal. Pardon me, wasn't he so exciting to watch? Just absolutely... the amount of bangers as well. He could really ping them in from distance. Coritiba doesn't know what would be a proper Coritiba player. Cicadan's wondering, do we think about the push for Europe? No. We are... Safety is all that matters. We're gonna hit a rough patch without doubt. I mean, if we look here, that's not the goal scoring form of players that will do that. We've got a game against Köln. So it goes Dortmund, Köln, Leipzig, Wolfsburg, Augsburg, Heidenheim, Frankfurt. So there's a possible run of games: Wolfsburg, Augsburg, Heidenheim, where we might be able to build some momentum. But otherwise, it's just every 2 or 3 games we're playing against a very good team. So it goes Dortmund, Leipzig there, Frankfurt and Stuttgart back to back, Leverkusen, Bayern Munich. And I think that if we can't, I think trying to get together a European place will need us to build that momentum. I think that would help. Siuna says, can we start maybe dreaming of playing Europe? I'm not saying it, that's for sure. We will beat Dortmund 7-6. I like your positivity. Right, we've got an ad coming up. Right, what do we do here, in fact, actually? When's that game? Cool, okay. We've got an ad break coming up. I can't think because it's literally coming in about 10 seconds. I will see you in 3 minutes, and then I'll work out what's happening thereafter. Right, we're back. So the plan of action is we're going to end the stream on a bad note by playing the Dortmund game, as that will bring us up to 20. So originally, my intentions for tonight's stream was to be a relatively short one, finishing around 9 o'clock, because I thought we were going to end up playing, doing a lot more looking at data and expecting more bids for our players to come in and having to react accordingly. That we'd actually probably only play 2 games tonight. That would bring us up to 18 games. That would mean there's 16 games remaining of the season. 8 games on Wednesday, 8 games on Thursday, right? But there's been fewer bids. We're all doing kind of well there in that regard. Welcome in, Toscanico. Thank you very much for the raid. How are you doing, sire? Lovely to have you in. Welcome in all the raiders as well. I'm MustermannFM. We are currently in the Bundesliga with Darmstadt. This is our first season in the top flight. We're sat in 8th. We're actually talking about the plans for the rest of the team. We've got our next game is away against Borussia Dortmund, a team who beat us 6-0 earlier on this season at home, and now we've got to go to their place, which leaves me, quite frankly, feeling a little bit scared. So we're going to be playing that game. We're going to get to the end of the transfer window, and then we might be finishing for the evening. So we've probably got like another 20 minutes or so. So I understand completely if you guys go, no, I'm not here and going off for another raid. You know, it's completely understand with that respect. However, if you want to see a weird old bearded English man break down as his team gets absolutely thumped by Borussia Dortmund, then stick around, because it should at least be entertaining. Painful, but entertaining. Welcome in, by the way, Dill, as well. Lovely to see you, my dude. How are you? How was your weekend? Tottenham back to winning ways. How are you feeling about that? We also have Sega in as well. Lovely to see you, my dude. How was your weekend? This weekend, you watched Nathan Skitter match for Dunkirk. No assists nor goals, but who cares? We were absolutely magic on the ball, constantly in Clermont Foot's box, and created some fantastic chances. Sounds great. Sounds great. Right, do we have... What are we looking at in terms of... We looked at players whose contracts were expiring. Why don't we have a look to see if there's anybody... You know, maybe there are some moments now that we've got players that would be quite interesting that could come in who are on the transfer list. And we don't necessarily want to wait until the summer for that, because they might no longer be on the transfer list there. Now, he plays as a midfielder. We don't really use right midfielders, so we'll pass on that. Haji Wright is still not playing well enough to justify that money. Eddie Salcedo. How is Eddie Salcedo getting on? Currently playing at Angers in the 2nd division. He's scoring at a crazy, crazy rate. 3 times above his XG. He's got to have loads of penalties in there. He does have loads of penalties. Almost half of his goals this season are penalties. That explains that one. So El Norby just joined the... Ladislav Massive fan just joined the chat. I'm happy to see my Chelsea supporter friend. Indeed, El Norby. We need him. None of that Tyreek George nonsense, right? That's a deal. Good guys, appreciate it. And yes, 3-game win streak for Spurs. Wow, you've got 3 North Americans on your list. Love that. We've got loads of North Americans on our list, but I mean, so Kevin Paredes seems to be a pretty good player. I don't think he fits in with what we're doing. He's having a pretty decent season there, like 5 goals, 6 assists, playing Schalke. Schalke got promoted with us to the Bundesliga, and they started the season in spectacular form. At one point, we're up to 3rd, and it's been downhill like the last month and a half. Pardon me. Yeah, but Kevin Paredes has been pretty key to what they're doing there, which is really cool. You've got Haji Wright, who's... So we were looking at Haji Wright earlier as a possibility. His contract expires next season, but we do need strikers. Look at that, man. That's not good. That's not good. 2 shots. Okay, it's improved a little, but it's kind of improved. When we looked at him earlier, he was taking about 2.2 shots per 90. and generating about 0.26 non-penalty XG. So he was taking a reasonable amount of shots, not that great quality, and underperforming his XG. So we kind of discounted him. That and 51,000 euros a week is crazy. And he's only winning 38% of his headers. It's not been a great time for Haji Wright, I'm afraid. Sorry, too. Salcedo's Colombian, not Mexican Italian. Is Salcedo Colombian? I didn't realise that. There we go. Liam Miller, we've got a Canadian in there. He's scoring 0.76 goals from 0.43, playing for Basel. Now, Basel are in the Super League. We won't get caught out with that this time. Been scoring pretty well over the course of the seasons. Dribbly. We would assume with that outlay he's been playing as a striker rather than a winger. Interesting player. Transfer listed for 1.6 million on 18 grand a week. Not sure he necessarily fits into what we want to do, but certainly worth keeping an eye on. Sir Patrick Schick fan. We've got all the fans. They're all the same person. Dill says we do need to speak about how Spurs went to Rangers and didn't win, unlike the last two teams that visited them. It's a fair point. Canada gonna be my next save. Liam is solid. He looks like a really, really good piece. It doesn't necessarily fit into what we're doing, but could have been an option. Di Benedetto, we don't really need a new defensive midfielder. Is he performing exceptionally? He's not. So essentially right now we're not really looking for a player. We don't really have a great need for any players. But I'm looking to see if on the transfer list there are players that are just really, really good and worth it. And someone like Castro and Mary is quite interesting here because he's generally speaking doing quite well in those regards. 4 million euros. Is he right-footed? This could be... He's offside quite a bit. He's doing really well in terms of key passes. Really well, specifically in open play key... Well, not really well, just decently well. 50th in the league for open play key passes. 4 million is more than what we've got in the budget. We could probably manipulate things a little bit. Not necessarily the player that we need right now, but he's interesting. Til Sissoko's doing all right. Not necessarily that sensational considering he's in the second division. Same Super League. Oh no, Super League's top division. 61 I'm not willing to go with. Ligue 2. Second division. We've already looked at Nadia Mimiri. Fortuna Liga midfielder. How is he doing? Really, really good in terms of possession stats there. Doesn't lose the ball much. Wins it quite a lot. Tackle win rate's a bit too low. Yeah, I'm not keen. I'm not keen. Once we go below B grade, I think we're okay to move on. So yeah, we've looked with the transfer window closing. We've taken a bit more of a look, see if there may be some opportunity signings that could have been good there, and I don't think there are. The last thing to consider is there anyone who would only be interested in a loan? No. Because, if we could get, bizarrely, Harry Kane has been transfer listed. He doesn't want to join permanently, but he would consider a loan. You definitely have to, you'd have to fight for that, right? So McG says, win the Europa League and make Ange smile again. I hate seeing him sad. I don't I genuinely feel sorry for Tottenham with the whole reputation about bottling things. It's such tired, boring banter. But at the same time, like, I feel like Ange deserves to be punished a little for his approach to this season. Like, just so little effort to protect that back line when you've got no players is crazy. Just this is the way I do things, we're going to go with it. Like, you can have a philosophy and an approach, but just a little bit of love and care and appreciation and recognition that maybe when you've got certain situations going against you, that you might need to just rein it in a little. Just rein it in, you know. Maybe have a slightly more defensive midfielder ahead of your defence, so that you've got that extra step of protection. You know, someone who might be a little bit less inclined to break forwards, so that you can tie those units all together rather than having everyone rush forwards and nobody able to actually pass between them. So I know that we're going to look to give Selkirk a job once he retires. But I'm still going to look through to see if we can find any back three Andys, such as Andre Pierre Gignac. So he likes to work the ball into the box, likes to play out of defence, likes to use intense pressing, bounce mentality more often. I do like what we see here with Gignac. Look at the staff situation. Oh, sorry, no, staff situation. Why don't I have any staffing spots left over? Got 3 coaches there. Whose contracts are coming up? So Gasparidak's contract's going to expire. It looks like we don't even have a spot. It looks like we've lost Nuri Sahin and we're not able to replace him. So that's all mute. Moot even. That's annoying. That's annoying. Mr. Grizzly P, it's who we are, mate. Yeah, I just can't get on board with that, man. I just can't get on board with that. You gotta just adapt a little. I'm not saying suddenly like park the bus and you know switch to a 4-4-2 and you know play traditional fullbacks. Just a little bit of common sense. Right, Zelic will be leaving for Frosinone. Hopefully they agree a deal. We can sell him beforehand, and you know we can get like 10k or whatever. Yeah, that's happened. Can we sell him for 60? No. Can we sell him for 40? 30? 20? Yay! Matteo Zelic sold for 20k. Big bucks. And we're going to get 9k of that added to our transfer budget. So McG doesn't watch it much EPL, so don't truly know how depleted they are. But if it's a young, inexperienced defence, then wouldn't they just get battered anyway? At least this way they are picking up some points. The only sitter-type midfielder we have is playing every position in the backline, lol. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Although, I mean, there have definitely been times over the years that we've seen that Bissouma is able to hold the position. Obviously, like, Bentancur can do that, but he's had his own injury problems as well this season. So, I mean, McG, a large part of Spurs' issue has been that they get so exposed in transition. So there's been a whole load of this flooding forward, this trying to invert and overload the centre, and they leave their centre-backs exposed. And that's why they've lost so many games this season. They've lost those games by a single goal. There's been some where they've got absolutely annihilated and pulled apart, but it's like starting that way. It's almost like they are saying we don't care what the result is. And it's not been entertaining. There's not been, like, I can't speak, actually. I can't speak for Tottenham fans, so you might be finding it entertaining. But there's been a lot of games where just that lack of structure and control means that you can't move the ball into the final third. you're really struggling to tie things together between the midfield and the attacking unit. So it's a case of get the ball, push forwards, lose the ball, end up under pressure. Very, very little chance creation as a result. Which has got to be frustrating. Got to be frustrating, surely. Pavlovic has been transfer listed. He's only played 140 minutes. We were keeping an eye on him earlier on this season in case Garrido left. We've obviously got Johan Hove coming in at the end of the season, so that's not going to necessarily be a priority. Yeah, so we'll pass on that. Because, I mean, he hasn't played any games, so we can't really turn around and say, yes, we're missing out on someone brilliant. He's not really had a career that's been exciting. Interesting, Rashidi is the best performing defensive player in the league. Dusseldorf have offered a contract to Saar. Right, what's our situation here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. We don't need Saar. I don't think Saar comes in and necessarily improves what we've got in any way. Well, I mean, he does improve on Mousend. Tubeck, it's a player with high potential. But not winning his headers. He hasn't won his headers at all since we've signed him, really. Ooh. No, we don't need him. We don't need him. Stop obsessing over shiny new toys. Right, so Düsseldorf will sign Mamadou Sarr next season. That's fair. Right, Man United should win the Europa League, says El Norby. A bold take. Zerachul says that's just bad planning. Learn to play strikers as centre-backs. Go back to the old days with Paul Warhurst at centre-back or Dion Dublin. Even Emil Heskey. It wasn't that long ago that happened, to be fair. The Chelsea fan finds it entertaining. That's fair. We're relying too much on Mickey to bail us out, and with that much sprinting, he's bound to get injured. It's only a matter of time, isn't it? Yeah, totally understand where you're coming from. Ange maybe needs unlimited player cheat code of being Chelsea manager. Yes. I mean, even then, like, bless Chelsea. No matter which positions that Chelsea have too many players on, they'll somehow manage to find a way to have an injury crisis or quality crisis in multiple places on the pitch. It's absolutely mad. How on earth can you spend $1.5 billion and be kind of without a goalkeeper or a striker? It was a mistake. I'll register you at the next option. Can you go out on loan? Hasn't the window just closed? Cool. There we go. That's absolutely fine. This is a player that we've signed that we have a lot of belief. Like we signed him for 675k. We've got belief that he's going to become a really, really good player for us. I'm training him as a wing back because he's quite quick. He can dribble, he can cross. But the window's closed, right? So yeah, maybe I there's no reason for me not to register. You're allowed like 99 players. So that is in some respect a mistake. But okay, let's get him out on loan in the Allsvenskan. I suppose that's something, right? Right, so right, Lance Sabermassi says we have an injury crisis in a position we have 7 players in. It's crazy. Time to buy Kimmich to cover for all the injuries. Or like, where is Dario Serna when you need him? Just play him everywhere. Play him anywhere and everywhere. When looking for players to buy, we make sure they do have dark red injury proneness. It's the criteria, isn't it? Are you wildly inconsistent? Are you exceptionally injury prone? Seems to be fair. Seems to be fair. Right, Lester's in. Welcome in, my dude. Lovely to see you. Good morning. Usual drop in. We'll watch the VOD late. Have a lovely, lovely day. I mean, I say have a lovely, lovely day. I mean, it's some god-awful time in the morning right now. I can imagine it doesn't feel like the daytime's going to be lovely yet. Right, Rashidi is on a 1 yellow card away. Nürnberger's 1 yellow card away. Players are looking to be close to fitness. Skitter, Linson, Sims will bring Selke straight back into the starting lineup. We're up against a one-striker formation. So we've got these guys closing down less. You're marking tighter. Let's be really, really explicit here. I want you to be marking Wiper. Adeyemi needs to be prepared. In fact, we're not going to do close down less on these guys. We're going to say ball playing defender cover on these guys. Stay wider in possession. And maybe, just maybe, to increase the passing directness, we're going back to the 3-5-2. That served us quite well against Bayern Munich, where we drew 1-1. So we go with that. That means the attacking player is on that side. We're going to make you a ball-winning midfielder. So we're less committing from the double pivot. Pretty straightforward in that way. We'll say some positive things. There we go. We finally elicited a response in a pre-game team meeting. Here we go. Here we go. Right, so do you have bad adaptability because you're an 18-year-old South American who doesn't like the weather? Do you hate big matches because you're 18 years old? Are you wildly inconsistent because you're 18 years old? So that's exactly the Chelsea signing prospect. And that is Dorja Petrovic in goal for Dortmund. I would expect that 6-7 years down the line, Petrovic is going to be a very good goalkeeper. Adeyemi draws a save from Sihinovic. McG says, Ange forgot that not all players are built like Dice and Maeda. Probably means nothing to the non-SPFL followers. We've got a good bunch in here, McG. They'll all... I expect most people will know who Maeda is. The breadth of knowledge in amongst chat seems to be incredible. It is... I don't know how they know so much. It's almost sickening. But in a good way. Amazing. Welcome in, my dude. Just got in from work, loading up your Hartlepool save in the year 2035. That's a long way in. How's it going? How is it going? Right, it's been all Dortmund. That's not a surprise, right? It's a shame that that's the way that we potentially concede. That was really... Let me watch that again. Because what I quite liked about it was this was like... Wimmer lets it run. Do you see that little drop of the shoulder from Ben Wimmer there? He's like, I'm going to do something cool. And what he does is just gives the ball away to Wiper 18 yards from goal. Genius. Right, Bozdogan with the corner. Wiper's the target. Rashidi can't get there. Sugawara goes for the header. Clemens from distance, just wide. We are under the cosh. But we have a free kick. Skitter tries to find Nürnberger. Nürnberger's shot is straight at Petrovic. And he was offside anyway. I thought he was on, to be fair. I thought it was the other player that was off. Bozdogan with the corner. So having no life and too many hours in FM has perks. It does. It absolutely does. That perks is knowing random players in various leagues. Right, Matty is mid-table, first 2 seasons. Currently top half, but only 10 games in. Skitter Skitter. Oh, it's blocked. Well done. We've had a couple of moments. That's more than I expected. That's for sure. Ladislav Massey says it's a cheeky no-touch turn. It was lovely. If it wasn't for the fact that it was a really, really bad decision, it would have been brilliant. Right, so you were at Kidderminster for 11 seasons, got them to the National League, but couldn't get them any higher than mid-table. So, moved to 2 one-season sides, then went to Hartlepool in League 2. That's fair. That's fair. Right, so the man can bomb up and down the full length of the pitch for 90 minutes and not break a sweat. Talk about Maeda here. Went from season-ending hamstring injury at the start of April 2024 to back playing before the month was out. He's not human. That is obscene. That is ridiculous. Kone now shoots from distance. It's well gathered by Sahinovic. I mean, Adeyemi now running down the left, cuts inside, plays it across to Schlotterbeck. Schlotterbeck all the way over. Fonseca, new signing in the summer. We find Sugawara. Sugawara's going to cross it. Wiper's shot takes a deflection, and Sahinovic gets a touch on it. Come on, let's encourage these guys into the last 10 minutes of the half. 10 shots so far, 2-1 from Dortmund. That's kind of the thing we expect. We're absolutely hemmed into their half. Sugawara with the corner. Sends it into the near post. We get there first, but Wiper can play it back out. Sugawara. Sahinovic punches it clear. Clemens back out to Sugawara. Sugawara cuts inside, and that shot is deflected behind for a corner. I just thought it was really, really bad. Right, so Matty says might head to Scotland when being at Hartlepool for a while. That'd be quite nice. So which Fonseca is that for Dortmund, Pie Guy? So it's João Fonseca. They signed him in the summer for like 30 odd million or so. Sahinovic with another good save. McGee says Hartlepool can't be the bad. That Scotland is the answer. Scotland's lovely, McGee. Scotland's wonderful. Most parts of Scotland are wonderful, at least. Not necessarily the parts that have football clubs. Right, into injury time. Here's a throw-in. Pacho manages to keep hold of the ball. Plays it back to Schlotterbeck. Here's Clemens. Cross to Fonseca. Fonseca finds Sugawara. Ryerson tries to play it down the channels. It's easily gathered by Sahinovic. Just 30 seconds to hold on. Schmidt. Cross to Sahinovic. Wimmer. There's just 20 seconds. Don't concede a goal. Okay, we've got out of their half. Don't concede a goal now. Pacho. Running down the left there. Plays it inside to Bozdogan. Bozdogan across to Ryerson. Ryerson from the edge of the area. His shot's blocked. Goes all the way back to Schlotterbeck. 0-0 at half-time. 0-0 at half-time. I've got to be delighted with that. It's been horrible. Horrible to watch. But we're not losing 6-0 like we did when we played at our place. Possession's been pretty even, but 48% to 52%, yet 50 final third passes to 5 final third passes. We are going to look at where it is that things are breaking down for us. It's breaking down with Rashidi and with Nürnberger. That's understandable. It going out into our wide areas, and that's where we then lose the ball. For Dortmund, they're losing possession when it goes into Sugawara and to Bozdogan. So Bozdogan's been bought off, Wiper's been bought off, Fonseca's been bought off. On comes Alberto Torres, Hakanana Haraldsson and Martin Dardé. Dardé mentioned El Norby. So, okay, I think we can probably go more direct still. Get counter in there as well. Going to look at just the heat maps if we can. Now, we'll average position first. Dortmund possession here. Heat map. So we can see that, yeah, we're doing a reasonably good job. It's going out to Sugawara. He's losing the ball quite a bit. Adeyemi is on that side. William Pacho. Bozdogan was an issue. He's come off. We've done a really good job of protecting the half spaces, which is cool. And for us, we are getting more joy down the left than we are the right. So I think that's the area we'll try and prioritise. So I'm going to say that I'm not happy because ultimately, thank you for the hydrate, by the way, Lestri. Yeah, ultimately, we don't expect to get anything out of this game. Let's pass into space. We're doing that there. We're going to play with a bit more width, see if we can support the ball when it goes out to Nürnberger, because he is losing it a lot. That, to me, looks like doing this. So we're going to always have options on the left. Skitter both running the channels and moves wider. Linson will kind of hopefully sit a little bit more there, which is fine. And Bamba can then be the volante back to his normal role. And we're going to ask Rashidi, somewhat confusingly, to be an inverted wing back on support. So we're not necessarily going to attack much down the right, is my thinking. Pass into space, focus play down the left, counter press. Happy with that. Then we see the changes here. Howelson on in the midfielder centre left spot. Sugawara's playing as a winger. That's crazy to me. But yeah, there we go. Let's see if we can somehow undeservedly get something out of this game. So, fried Mars bars, exactly, a great reason to enjoy Scotland. The rest is so-so. Ranad a massive fan, wants to know where Hartlepool even is. Hartlepool is better than Kidderminster at the moment. So you're making it sound like it's only going to be a temporary thing. It's a good chance already. We managed to clear 55 seconds in. It's wow. It's just all Borussia Dortmund. It feels like they've had as many chances in this opening minute and 10 seconds as they had in like most of the first 20 minutes. We just can't make the ball stick. We've ended up with the ball down the right a bit. See what happens with momentum. Yeah, it's definitely very much in Dortmund's favour. Oh, a blue bar. Just a small slither of hope. Schmidt into Brooks. Brooks out to Nürnberger. Nürnberger's pass, he immediately intercepted. Ryerson then plays it across to Sugawara. Schmidt gets back, plays it all the way back to the keeper. Schmidt. Across to Mbamba there. Now you can get it in. Okay, you'll go to the right. Interesting. And Rashidi will do that. And that's going to be... Oh, no, don't just stand there. Right, okay. No, I'm not happy with that. We made those changes. I'm not happy with them. What are we dealing with here? We are saying you guys are both on support now. I can't, like, what we've seen there is just really, really bad play on the ball. Is they get it, they just stand there, and then they just pass the opposition. So we are basically going to say you're allowed to do one thing, which is to stand deep and cross. Otherwise, take no risks. So I don't want cross from byline, I want cross from deep. I want you to sit narrower. If you're going to come with the ball, you're going to come inside where all the players are. So we're going to play super narrow. And defensive midfielder on support. You'll go back to being a ball-winning midfielder. We have no designs on getting out of our box, is basically what I'm saying now. Drop down to balanced. We'll put counter on. We're going to distribute to the target forwards. You guys can buzz around. Neither of them are asked to stay wider. Target forward is the target. And Rashidi comes off. As does Nürnberger. You guys have lost the ball too many times. I'm already like, and they're going to score from the corner after the changes are made anyway. Torres' header, grabbed by Sahinovic. So Leicester says, in the championship group stage now for his Diaghiras save. Second game, my captain and the goal scorer had his foot broken in a tackle. A few minutes later, your vice-captain decided to elbow an opponent after they skinned them. So it's a vibe. That is a very gracious way of responding to that. That is a horrendous few minutes. Muller now tries to get it clear. He does indeed. It's only as far as Hartmann. Hartmann's going to push down the left. Tries to cut back inside. Plays it to the edge of the box. But Ryerson volleys and that's over. Craven Thunder, do you have any tips for analysing games to try and understand why my tactic isn't working? Go into the analytical data tab. Look at what it's saying, what it's telling you. I know that sounds really patronising, but it is as straightforward as that. Where are you losing the ball? Where are the opposition having a lot of the ball? What can you then do to try and counter it? And sometimes you make changes and it makes absolutely zero difference anyway. We aren't really picking up any of their players at any point. Here comes Selke off for Sims. Right, Muller's got himself a booking. Let's tell him he's on the left, so he needs to mark the attacking midfielder right, which is Sagara, mark tighter, but also ease off tackles. Guy as well. We are basically shouting every single instruction that has ever existed at our fullbacks. Please pay attention to your man. It's as simple as that. These guys should have been back on cover. That's my bad. Cover. So they're not marking tighter. They need to be there to react for when players get free of their man. And Mbamba is the other player who's tired. We do need to bring Mbamba off, but we're going to do it in a couple of minutes so that we can turn time wasting on, so that time wasting is already a consideration for our next substitution. So that's Mbamba off, Mousehound on. We've got just 9 minutes remaining in this game. Dardai, proper Dortmund. Dardai's created space. That's got to be. Sahinovic tips it over. So McGee says, fried Mars bars, a great way to enjoy Scotland and also half your life expectancy. Yeah, but the half of the life expectancy you're getting rid of is probably going to be a bit rubbish, right? Like, who wants to be 94? So better to die young and leave a pretty corpsicle. Exactly, Zerachel. Right, DM Basis, fuck it. I'm definitely getting a pizza crunch this weekend. What is a pizza crunch? Oh, no, we can't concede now. It's the 6th minute of 5 minutes of injury time. That's got to be it. What a result. We managed 2 shots in the entire game. Dortmund had 25, 10 on target. Sahinovic, the legend. Leonard, how many leagues do you normally choose in your save? The stream's going to be ending shortly. Leonard, if you head on over to YouTube, do I have a YouTube command? I don't think I have a YouTube command. I don't. So let's do it from here. If you head on over to that link there, you can go to the YouTube. If you go to the live tab and watch the very first video in this series, we talk all about setting up. The whole of the first stream is about setting up. So that's the approach that I take. How about that? We did it. So a pizza cruncher's deep fried battered pizza sounds amazing. Usually a margarita as well. Beautiful. What a robbery. It's what they deserve. It is what Dortmund deserve. Across the 2 games, they generated something like 4 XG and they scored 6 goals against us. So it's just balanced out, really. Just balanced out. How about that? So, who is currently in charge of Dortmund? It's Marco Rose. Marco Rose returned at the beginning of this season. So, was at Wolfsburg after a spell at Germany. He comes in now playing a 4-3-3, super attacking gegenpressing style. Yeah, we got to be happy with that. Eh? Right. That, by the way, is where we're going to call it for the evening. So we've now played 20 games. That means there's just 14 games left in the season. That we can split. It's an even number, so we can split it over the streams on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to be back on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Then on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. So hopefully, I look forward to seeing you guys there. Now, YouTube, I'm going to head off with you guys first. Say thank you very much for dropping by. Really appreciated. And then over on Twitch, we're going to raid out to someone else. So, yeah,